Hey, it's Comic Artist Pro Secrets, and I'm Ethan Van Sciver, 26-year veteran of this wackadoo comic book industry, and it is wacky. It's crazy.
It is very much.
Yes, it is.
It's crazy.
I'm
Anyway,
here with my pal, the umbrella guy, as
mhm.
opposed to the umbrella guy. What's the difference these days?
Well, the Umbrella Guy is pretty much, he's from North Wakanda. I'm from South Wakanda. No, really, that's my main channel. I actually, I set out a lovely duration after a certain anti-comic skater decided to false flag my channel. So,
Your voice
copyright.
sounds husky this afternoon. You sound
Yeah,
like you're getting over something.
yeah, man. It's sinus season here, so my voice will sound even deeper and even a little bit raw, but it's all good.
Yeah, this is why I do this too, man. I used to my early videos were like, "Hey, it's Ethan Van Sciver, comic artist." Like I would speak like that, and
Mhm.
now over time, my voice has become like this when I'm
Yeah,
broadcasting. You know, a little bit froggier, a little bit more fry to it.
yeah.
Sounds better through your headphones. I think that's like what you sound like right now too.
Yeah, it's funny. Like some people ask, they're like, "Man, you put a little bit too much vocal fry." I'm like, "Hey, when I usually talk about that's how I really talk." So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not adding. Yeah, this is actually just from this is adding vocal fry. So
Yeah, I think it sounds good when you have it like your headphones on and you can hear your own voice. You
mm,
naturally want to put that vocal fry on there because it just sounds good in your ears, man. You got a lot of bass coming through, and it's really nice.
man,
So
you sound like your balls have dropped. It's kind of
yeah.
I
Well,
mean, well, these days there's so much soy out there, man. People don't real remember what like real men
I'm
sound like
I'm
anymore.
so sick of it, Tug. Honestly, JDA, John Delarose, posted something on Twitter at me, and it's the most soy-based thing I've ever seen. I don't know why this image makes me so uncomfortable, but it does. It makes me really, really uncomfortable, and in like a primal way. Like I actually want to hurt this person, and I don't feel that. Well, I'm a man of peace, Tug. I'm not somebody who wants to hurt anyone. But I mean, what does this image do to you?
Oh God.
You know what I mean?
It makes me ashamed. It makes me ashamed of life. I mean, oh.
Yeah, it's like, what is that face? Like, like what is the noise coming out of your hole? Like ah, when it's a fucking it's a video game. It's a video. Like I don't know what. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just
No,
sick
no,
of it.
it's definitely not just you. Can you imagine the sound of that person? Yeah, when you're oh Lord, I would hate to have sound with that. It would really piss me off.
He's like so happy that he got a video game like a child. Here's what it is. It's that he's bald, which says that he's like in his late 30s, if not 40s, but he's probably younger than that. I don't know. And then the beard, he's like lying about his masculinity. Like the beard men used to grow beards, it was a rugged thing, but these days soy boys all grow beards. It makes me mad. Like it makes me want to shave my face and be like James Spader and Pretty in Pink again. Just like be 80s prep, no facial hair, like really clean shaven. But I like my beard. My beard looks cool.
When
But
you
this
look at the when you look at the wall behind him too, it looks like he's at a discount proctology office. That look,
love. Like I don't get it. Like I don't care. Listen, I'm not a gamer. I'm not, but I understand some video games. Like if you say, Ethan, you're taking a week off, and we're gonna play Call of Duty together all week long. I'd be like, really? I don't have to work? Yeah, that sounds like fun, man. That sounds like a good time. Just to sit down for a week, take a break, and play video games. Now the thing about it is that video games. All right, let me. How do I phrase this so that this is the speech I gave my son. And I'm not if there are gamers in the audience, understand, I'm not condemning you. I'm not saying anything critical necessarily, but here's what I'm saying. I told my son, who used to play video games all day long from dusk till dawn during the summertime when he was a teener. I said to him, Hunter, why are you spending so much time playing video games? He's like, because I like it. And I was like, it's not making you any money. It's not getting you closer to girls. You know what I mean? And it's not getting your body in shape. Those three things. Like if you're not doing those three things, and forget about even getting in shape, because I'm not going to talk too much about that. Uh girls money, girls money, girls money. Those are the two things that you should be concerned about when you're a teenage boy. Now, when you're an adult man, how do you spend that much time playing video games that you get this look on your face? This look on your face when you get given The Legend of Zelda and a Nintendo Switch. And what even is a Nintendo Switch? What are
I've
these
never
guys?
I've never spent so much time with Nintendo Switch. I play video games periodically, but I don't have time for it. I mean, I think when you get out, you know, some people's occupations they work around video games, but outside of that, I mean, I don't know how people have time for it.
I don't get it. Yeah, I guess here's the thing, like ideally you want to get into a profession where video games are your job. You know, and there are people on YouTube. I get these gamers on YouTube who play all day because listen, I'm not going to argue with it. They're making good money playing games live on a live stream. That's the life, man. And don't hate on anyone's game. Like that's pretty cool. But I mean, for everyone else, it's like you're literally producing nothing. And my two motivations in life are money and sex, you know, and food, pie. But mostly money and sex. It's like ultimately that's what a man's life and all of his ambitions and goals boil down to. And really, it's not even that. It's only sex, because the money is supposed to get sex in a roundabout way. You're supposed to be able to provide for a family and a wife and everything like that. And that's a woman, that's a home, that's sex. So this is doing the opposite of all of that. And then this is your face. Tug, how come Tug, it makes me angry.
It makes me sad, man. It's what it makes me. It makes me sad. I mean, I look at him and I imagine all the life that comes with that. Oh, Lord. I mean, I'm glad though, you know, it can make me happy too, because that's not my life. So I can feel good about that. Maybe I need to reframe, positive reframing.
Yeah. All right. Let's try to reframe things in a good way. CYBERFROG BLOODHONEY, Tug, is now in its third iteration of a campaign, and we are about $250 away from hitting $90,000 in the first week. Now, CYBERFROG BLOODHONEY has been tremendously successful, very successful. In fact, I think it's inspired other people to do the same. Many other people, not only amateur indies, but also people like Scott Snyder. Scott is coming out of the woodwork, and he's going to do a crowdfunded campaign, like an independent campaign. Do you know anything about this?
I haven't actually kept up with Scott in a while. You know, I set him by the wayside. I would have cared. You know, what's sad about that is I would have cared. Maybe 5 months ago, I would have actually cared. I would have participated, but no, I haven't even kept up with him at all. But yeah, you're going to get a lot of mimics. I remember after your first push at CYBERFROG, how much money you made there. I was talking to an insider at IDW, and that insider was telling me how they were sitting around with a bunch of other people that, you know, hate us, but they were talking about how they could profit off of us too, how they could do the same thing, because they don't really just hate you. They hate you because they want to be you. You know, they want that money.
Yeah. It's not, you know, it's not hard to do. Well, look, my opinion is the world is changing. You know, the Comicsgate is a reflection of changing times in comics. And as these people who are running mainstream comics continue to go down the wrong path for short money all the time, rejecting customers, not listening to customers, calling customers Nazis nonstop, abusing people, and they love it, dude. They love it. That hasn't changed a goddamn bit. Twitter still, these guys are just like, oh, we don't want your money. This wasn't made for you. The goddamn Captain Marvel movie wasn't made for you. Who are you idiots making this for?
Well, they're making it for themselves. That's the problem. When you make just something for yourself, when you forget your customer and then spit in your customer's face. Come on. I mean, that's so ridiculous. I can't imagine this outside of entertainment. I can't imagine this anywhere. I mean, whoever invited a plumber in their house and they said, well, you've got to separate the plumbing from the plumber. He may have called you a Nazi, but you know, he fixed a crack really good. No one ever do that shit.
Well, they don't say that. When you say that to them, somebody like Jamal Igle will say, this is not a customer service business. And we'll get back to that in a minute, because it sure isn't when it comes to them. But what they'll say is, we are an entertainment business. We produce entertainment and monetize it. Now, the word monetizing is unique. Monetizing is what we do here on YouTube. It means attach advertising to. That's basically what it is. It means attach advertising to. When you are trying to sell something, however, when you are creating a product like a comic book, and you're trying to sell it to customers, you're not monetizing it, you idiot. You're not monetizing it. You are trying to sell it. You are marketing it. That is different. That is different. Adding advertising and receiving money for clicks or views or anything like that, that is where the word monetization comes from. But
Well,
creating a comic book, right?
Well, there's an idea, like when you, all of this kind of stuff too, it's about entertaining. No one would show up if you didn't entertain people. No one would show up at all. But these folks, they have a cushy job. They have a company telling them, hey, it's okay if you treat people like trash. They have all of this stuff. Actually, a whole industry telling them that right now. So, yeah, while it dies, I mean, I hate seeing it, man. My grandfather bought me my first comic. I was around 3 years old, and my grandfather, he was a very austere man, but he bought me a comic book, man. It hooked me. I'd been there for decades, and then just to find that my grandfather
comic book. Let me interrupt you. Let's slow down and get to know you. What was your first comic book?
It was a GI Combat comic book. It was yeah, I actually got hooked on things like Conan and GI Combat. I used to pick all of that up back in the day.
The war stuff, all the fantasy stuff. When did you find superheroes, or did you? I mean,
I found superheroes later, probably closer to, I would say, 10, 11, and I loved superheroes up until I took a break for a little while after the crash, after we had a crash, after that, when the marketing just went mad. Then I came back, and actually I switched from being heavier Marvel then to switching over to DC after I came back.
So were you collecting comics during the so you were collecting comics during the 1990s. What did you think of all Image and that whole thing?
Man, it was inspiring. I mean, you see these guys out here, and they really were, we saw them as they were the perfect marketing. I mean, we saw them as the bad boys out there. They defied convention. They were actually bringing something, at least, again, effective advertising. I thought it was new and unique. It was amazing. It inspired a lot of people.
Yeah. I personally, I mean, I was amazed at how colorful and interesting it was. This was back in the day when creators were actually celebrities. And I talk about this all the time. We don't have that anymore. Wizard Magazine is gone. I mean, Wizard Magazine was very, very important. It was instrumental to making comic book creators into stars, into people that you'd want to meet. And I mean, it really was good, man. You get this nice polybagged, glossy magazine with a cover with an airbrushed Venom on it that was done by Bart Sears, but he changed his name. He had a pseudonym because he was under contract. You remember that?
Yeah. Yeah,
okay.
I pulled out a bunch of wizards the other day. They were in storage, and I ran across them, and I was looking through the creators in the back, and it was baffling to look at some of the people that I really dislike now, because we've seen them for who they are. I always think of social media. We had this idea of who these people were. They were almost like the image there was almost like a dinosaur, and then we have social media. It comes in, crashes in like a meteorite, and boom, extinction level. I mean, it exposed these people for they can be flawed. People can always be flawed, but man, when you're just reprehensible, that's another thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the mystique is gone, because now you're interacting with these people day in, day out. Now, the mystique was gone for me pretty quickly, because I became a comic book professional. I was drawing comics in 93, 94, but I became a professional in 95. And that's when I was able to actually meet and rub shoulders with these people that I was only reading about, in Wizard Magazine, and actually seeing them. And believe me, I was starstruck. Meeting Todd McFarlane, meeting Jim Lee, meeting all these people, meeting Billy Tucci. I met Billy Tucci at the first party I went to.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that's how Comicsgate is for a lot of people, though. People get to see like celebrities. I mean, really, you know, if you're in comic books, man, there are a lot of celebrities out there that you see. So I think that's the positive side. I mean, we've had more negative side lately. I guess we can talk about that in a minute, but we have a positive side. I hope, you know, when people see that, I hope they remember how they're sometimes viewed by the consumer. You know, consumers are so excited about seeing some of you guys. You know, it's I have to throw myself in there too, man. You know, when you see that person, you get to interact with them, and you get to find out that they're not like those other people. That's actually a beautiful thing.
Tug, one thing that people are finding out now because of social media is something that you don't find out until you're a professional, which is that comic book creators are all insane. And by the way, all of these editors are too. I mean, most of them, if you give editors power, you know, it takes only a very responsible person not to exploit that power. And they all have power. Now, imagine being capable of granting dreams to people. And I think early in the 90s, being capable of granting dreams, like a comic book job, a career in comics is a dream. You uniquely have that ability. If you're, you know, it's not just the men either, the female editors as well. You have power over people. And, you know, these men especially are able to, you could trade sex for work, couldn't you?
Sure. You know, maybe
Absolutely.
I can't, but I don't know.
You could,
But yeah,
but
there would be a lot of.
you have
Oh,
that
go
kind
ahead.
of power, you know. I mean, that's
Mhm,
what it is. I mean, that's
mhm.
so there's a little bit of stuff like that going on, because you're able to give somebody a six-figure salary job doing something that they wanted to do since they were a kid, which is interesting. So uh, right away, you kind of learn that first of all, people who have power are not handling it responsibly.
Mhm.
And second, everyone who is working within comics is mentally ill in some way or emotionally damaged. Now the question is, as you work in comics, as you work with these people, you ask yourself a question, and this is like 90% of people. This isn't everybody. I mean, there's some that are gloriously Jeff Johns. There's nothing wrong with Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns is healthy, you know, and I think Jim Lee is too. You meet people like that. But for the most part, everyone else is a little bit defective. And as you're working with them, you have to ask yourself, can I work with this person? Do their flaws make it impossible for me to work with them or not? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I actually, I think a lot of these people too, that they forget their roots. They become even more damaged. Scott Schneider, you were talking about, for example. I remember him posting about when he first started out. He was hungry. You know, he
Mhm.
didn't have, he needed, and you know, he talked about how grateful he was, but he talked about being grateful to the companies that hired him. You know, he was going out and he was insulting consumers while posting things like that. I thought, man, you know, you forgot how it is to be hungry. You know, you took on that.
You feel
You
like
took on.
Scott Snyder was insulting customers?
Yeah, man. When he told us that we have to do or else, oh yeah, he definitely insulted consumers.
Tell
He
me more about that. I missed that. Explain that.
so there was
By
you
the
know
way, wait
there
one,
was.
one, 1 minute. Let's just go
Okay.
back for people. Again, I'm a storyteller. I got to make sure everybody in the chat knows. Scott Snyder is the biggest, maybe the second biggest now that Bendis is over there. Hate to say that, but the biggest writer for DC Comics. He writes the biggest Batman books. He is the Bat Office right now. If you want to work on Batman, you are hopefully working with Scott Snyder. He's an excellent writer. He looks a little like Leo DiCaprio. Like if he told me, if he said I'm Leo DiCaprio's brother, I'd be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. It looks a little like that, like he's a member of that family. And he is very positive and upbeat. I mean, he's known for being that way. He is careful with his words for the most part. And all right, go ahead.
Well, he got involved in the Denounce Comicsgate thing. You know, he got involved with after Heather Antos told him to, which you know, a lot of people were very forgiving about. They were like, well, maybe he's being pushed to do that, which I could see, okay. But then I started getting people leaking DMs from the guy where he He would text people that are in industry, or he would text people that are just random people out there and tell you, hey, you've got to denounce Comicsgate. If you ever want pros to take you seriously, if you want us to listen to you, you've got to. I mean, I'm looking at part of one of those conversations. I pulled it up here, and
Scott Snyder was doing this.
yeah.
Scott Snyder was telling people they have to denounce Comicsgate.
Yeah, if you leave Comicsgate or disavow it, and people do their thing, I think pros might be willing to have a conversation talking about how bad things are. But
Oh,
that,
I saw that. Yeah,
yeah.
I didn't see any private messages. I saw him saying, "Hey, if you want to talk to me about concerns within comics, that's good, but first you have to leave Comicsgate." Now, this is dumb, and I would like to talk to Scott about this at some point. Scott, the last conversation Scott and I had was like last year, and he said, "Why do you support Trump? He's such a terrible human being. Why do you support him?" I was like, "Why would you support Hillary? She's such a terrible human being." I said, "Look, it's about objective. It's about getting the things done that we want to get done. Doesn't matter who does them. It just has to get done. That's what politics is." Sorry, he didn't like that answer. But other than that, I saw Scott Snyder say this, and I would like to talk to him and say, "Look, Scott, that's not what Comicsgate is. Comicsgate is not a club. It's not a group. It's not anything. We call it a family because I want to have that kind of environment where we look out for each other. If somebody has aligned with Comicsgate, they have that same belief system, and they're in trouble in some way, I want to look out for them. If we can, pull together as a family or as a fucking community. I hate the word community, but I mean, it becomes kind of like, for lack of a better word, and I think family is it. I think if somebody's in trouble, we need to help them. And that's why somebody like Zach with this lawsuit with Mark Wade, that's why when you were in trouble recently, I wanted to help you, with the whole thing about the guy who did that to you is a piece of work, weirdo piece of garbage.
I would love to sue that. I'm telling you, I would love to sue that guy. I actually, that would be an interesting segue into some conversation too, if people want to hear about.
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. So I want to just get through Scott Snyder here and what Comicsgate is. You can't leave Comicsgate. It's not something that you can leave. It's not a club. There's no door. I know we call it Comicsgate, but it's not. There is no gate. It's a belief system. It's just a matter of like, hey, you know what? I too believe that the comic book industry is full of SJWs who are ruining comics right now. The far leftist politics or any divisive partisan politics do not belong in this reading material that we're used to buying. Comics can be political. Certainly, the message should be subtle. It shouldn't be divisive. Okay, it shouldn't be like, hey, it shouldn't favor one political party in America unless it deliberately does do that, like Green Arrow versus Green Lantern. We know Green Arrow is a Democrat. We just know that it's part of the character. But if those rules aren't set up in advance for the consumer, that kind of stuff shouldn't be in there. It's poisonous. Those kind of politics should not be in comics. So if you believe that, you might be Comicsgate. And also, if you believe that the customer is being mistreated, that this is a customer service business and the customers are being mistreated by the professionals online, disrespected. If you believe that the retailers are being disrespected by predatory publishing practices by the big two, maybe possibly big three, if you believe any of these things and you want to implement change, or you believe that maybe we should do this on our own somewhere else, you're Comicsgate. Now, that's not something you leave. You can change your mind. You could say, no, I don't think any of these things are happening or that they're important. I believe the customers should get their asses kicked every day online by the professionals that they buy work from. And I believe that SJWs aren't in comics, or if they are, they're wonderful and doing great work there. And also, I believe that publishers should do more unwanted, unasked for first printing variant covers and just slam the shelves with bulk product. That's how you leave Comicsgate. So the idea that Scott Snyder's like, hey, just forget everything that you know and believe to be true in order for us to have a conversation. What kind of conversation would you be having with Scott at that point?
Yeah, well, bringing up like you said, forgetting the customer there. I would bring up things like part of my conversation. I couldn't forget that because I would be bringing up the fact, hey, all of those projects that you talk about when you were hungry. I was one of the people buying them. In fact, when you denounced Comicsgate, I'd bought the reprint of American Vampire. I bought the nice omnibus, and I tell you, if I wasn't on the line for my LCS, if it wouldn't screw them, I would have told them to take it back. There's no way in hell I would have bought it after that. So yeah, I would remind them. But some of these folks, they get to the point where they have a big enough name, big enough clout that they don't worry about this stuff harming them. They also don't worry about, they tell you about, we're just trying to protect that new up and coming, and then they add a qualifier, LGBT or whatever they add. Well, you're harming them because I'm not buying their comic books. Right now I'm buying 8 mainstream comics. I went from spending hundreds of dollars a week at one time last year. I was buying 1 to 150 a week. It's very easy. People ask, how do you do that? Well, it's very easy to spend that in singles when your comics cost, $5 to $10 a piece. And then I'd buy trade paperbacks, but now I buy five comic books in a month to 8 comic books. I mean, it's ridiculous.
The comic book industry is built on scam after scam, and the underpinning of the SJWs who are supporting these scams is the idea that they are, in actuality, supporting marginalized people, Tug.
Yeah, that's the kicker there. If people stop buying buzzwords and they actually look at practice and they look how it damages things, then they would see, then they would understand. But you gotta wake people up to the fact that the corporate monolith out there is not the little guy, the multi-billion-dollar industry. They are not being bullied by the mean little consumer. It's backwards. When I hear people taking up for Disney, or I hear people calling themselves anarchists and on while working for Disney, and telling me how poor Disney and poor them are getting picked on. It makes me laugh. I don't have to give them my money.
Well, Disney has openly called for war, haven't they, at this point? These people who protect marginalized people, quote unquote, these people who believe in diversity and inclusion, are exploiting people like that in actuality. They're exploiting people. Tug, I don't know if you've seen this yet. I'm happy to share this with you. These people who talk about transgendered rights, protecting trans people, these people who persecute your boy Zach for simply criticizing one trans person in comics, for simply talking up and criticizing their work. These are people who actually literally exploit the labor. This is by the way, I'm using socialist language here. Exploit the labor of trans people who are impoverished. Not cool with asking people to work for free. Zoe Quinn fast-talked a group of destitute, emotionally vulnerable trans people into ghostwriting her book and running her NGO. What's an NGO? Does anyone know?
Not right now. My brain is frazzled today.
You're going to love this, Doug. This is going to be a whole video for you. This topic here for free. Somebody's going to tell me, is it somebody in the chat? Let me know what's up with NGO. Let me switch this to live chat, by the way, because right now it is live chat. Non-government organization. Is that what it means? What does that even mean? Running her non-government organization for free, promising eventual payment. She never paid them. She never paid her destitute, emotionally vulnerable trans employees. Source, testimony from her own employee. Here you go. What happened to the FMV game? This is from March 13th. This is just last week. She says, I ran out of money a long time ago. Not cool with asking people to work for free. Got a day job to start crawling out of debt and in a place where I can properly finish it. This is the day job. The day job would be what? Working for DC Comics, right?
So she had people go in and run her nonprofit, her nonprofit that was set up on a local or national or whatever level. That's what the NGO is. So she not only had them write her book, but run her nonprofit. That's scammy. Hey, look at all the good deeds I'm doing.
Look at that.
Oh, that's very bad, man.
Helping people. Quinn immediately started. This is a testimony from one of her trans employees. I'm going to read this. Quinn immediately started making demands of the whole group, mostly in the form of concerns about security and invited in a number of other people, foregoing the established rule of anonymity, and instead going by a simple standard of anyone publicly standing up to Gamergate and or publicly talking about how great Quinn was. For a mix of very good people I still consider good friends, some extremely unstable people who made a lot of us feel rather unsafe, someone who would later be revealed as a sexual predator. There are quite a few of those within Anti-Comicsgate and Anti-Gamergate. Quite a few revealed to be sexual predators. And one of them worked for where Quinn is right now.
It's always amazing, you know, looking at the anime stuff versus this. You know, they love to call other people sexual predators while housing armies of sexual predators.
Yeah, for real. Everything that they say, this is the astonishing thing about them. Like, first of all, I'm bringing this up because SJWs today, Anti-Comicsgate, are like, you're never going to, these people are never going to get their CYBERFROG. And I showed a stack of 60 pages of artwork. And they go, that's just, well, you know, that's just like a wad of 20s or a 20 wrapping around a wad of ones. What do you want me to do? Individually tug on? Do you want me to show the pages? Hold on a second. God damn these people.
I love it where the AVS gets worked up. It's like, I'm going to show these people now.
I'm getting mad. All right, hold on. I got to get rid of this for 1 second. Stop sharing. All right. Where's my image? Look. Pages. These are all drawn on. Every single one of these is drawn on. These are not blank pages. This is all CYBERFROG artwork. This is 60 pages of CYBERFROG artwork.
They love dismissing, though. They, you know, and I remember they'll do it for anything. I remember them saying, "Well, you know, our Tumblr level artwork is much better than that Guy Van Sciver or Scriber." I was like, "Really, people?" And now, you know, you creating 60 pages. Oh, that's just one page. I mean, come on.
It's one page, like, but stacked up, so it's blank pages, but I've made it look like a lot. And I can't show everything because there's spoilers on it. I already showed 2 spoiler pages because I really like them. And in any case, how do I do that? How do I show people? How do I show people that this is all real? Now everybody's getting upset because I'm bending them. Sorry.
Now these people do. I mean, that's part of their game. They try to sell lies all the time. They sell qualifiers, you know, like Nazi. If that doesn't work on you, then they try to diminish your work. If that doesn't work on you, they make you a scammer. I mean,
right.
Lord.
So anyway, and like because of this idea that I would take $750,000, which is a lot of money, but it's not enough to run away and commit a crime over. You know what I mean? Like the $750,000 to them is like, well, I would retire forever. No, I want to do this again. I want to do this many, many, many more times and become wealthy. That's what normal people do. They go, oh, I think I hit the jackpot here. I have an idea that people want to buy. And if I do this and I do it twice a year for a bunch of years, I'm going to be rich. So I'm going to keep doing this. That's what normal people do. SJWs don't think like that. SJWs go, just take the money and go to Japan. Take the money and go to Japan. So that is what we have right here. We've got, in fact, something that's happened over and over and over again. Whoops, we go into infinity here.
They also think like these amounts of money. Okay, in getting that anime stuff, since it's fresh on my mind, $100,000. They were talking about, oh, this dude, he raised $100,000. He's gonna run with it. And I'm like, $100,000 is not a career and destroying your life and your reputation.
No, you got to get $100,000. First of all, $100,000 is barely enough to get the book done, but you better get the fucking book done because you know, if you do get the book done, then more people are going to buy in. But again, I've said from the very start, like this book isn't just a comic book. I'm not just trying to make money off of this one thing. This is the beginning of a much, much, much bigger thing. For me, CYBERFROG is actually a very marketable property, and people are showing a lot of interest in it. Other people, there's going to be a lot of merchandise. There's going to be a DVD. There's going to be stuff that's happening. So it's important that this book be done, but be done super, super well because it is going to lead to other things. So this isn't just like, hey, I need to get the 48 pages I promised done, and whatever, I get it done, get it shipped out, move on to the next thing. No, this is the foundation, Tug.
That's what a professional, an entrepreneur, a capitalist actually sounds like. Respect customers, make something good, make people come back. You know, whoa,
Yeah,
crazy, huh?
yeah. David Barron goes, a DVD, is this 1998? Just hang out, you'll see. All right, so in any case, this is what they do, and you have to remember, whatever it is that SJWs accuse you of is exactly what they're doing. And that's what becomes alarming, because when they accuse you of doxing, when they accuse you of harassment, when they accuse you of promoting and inciting violence, and you go, what the hell are they talking about? Like, that's not what I do. That's not what I'm about. They're talking about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So also, when they talk about cheating people at crowdfunding campaigns, they're talking about themselves. And here we go. Being the only common link after inviting a bunch of strangers and playing up concerns based in being the primary target of Gamergate, who ironically at the time were bending over backwards to distance themselves, dubbing Quinn literally who, and attempting to focus on other targets, Quinn adopted the role of leader, issuing increasingly demanding requests from everyone to monitor neo-Nazi websites for serious threats. Can you imagine this shit? Compile. This is what they do too. This is what Anti-Comicsgate is doing. They're monitoring everything. Like, we're just trying to do comics, and they're sitting there like stalking, harassing, monitoring, compiling things. Look, compiling tweets with clear death threats from Gamergate ringleaders to present at meetings with the company, encourage outreach and solidarity to the targets of the day. All of this came at a huge toll to everyone's mental health and personal safety, which Quinn was quite aware of, generally keeping up everyone's spirits with constant promises of sharing the absurd amount of donations rolling in through Patreon, providing everyone with quality psychiatric care, safe housing for everyone who had been doxxed and who was being subjected to extreme dangers like swatting, and becoming the focus of Breitbart hit pieces. Even promises of formally forming an organization that would give everyone full salaries and health coverage. Most of the people these promises were made to were desperate, unemployed trans women, a step away from homelessness. Step away from homelessness. Who had been rendered absolutely unemployable due to the attacks being delivered by Gamergate. Nobody other than Quinn ever saw a single cent.
That is absurd. I mean, it just shows you how when they're talking, like you said, you know, that projection, you know, the scam idea. This person, they've scammed what, almost $100,000 in GoFundMe as well. I mean, they've definitely done their thing. You know, that's why. That's why I'm careful. If I go out like CyberFrog, for example, if I say, hey, this is going to be a good project, I do my due diligence to get to know the people behind it and on, because there's so many of these people. You know, it's something I think consumers are much better at now. I think Comicsgate has probably woke them up too. But God, I mean, look at how terrible these folks are, man. Ugh.
Yeah, they are.
Picture you put in our face, by the way.
Yeah. We're gonna get to this. This is another one. It's a weird thing. I just posted something like, why is it? What is it? Why do anti-Comicsgaters scam money via crowdfunders and then hire trans people and never pay them? And you know, this is a common thread that I'm finding here. You hire transgendered people, and then you don't pay them. Is it because trans people are marginalized? Do SJWs feel like trans people won't ever speak up because these SJWs supposedly defend them? These people are all broke. All right, so let's look at another example of this. This is Kieran Shiek. Zach calls him Kieran Shake. I think it's Shiak.
I just call him Sandwich Boy. That's all I can ever remember.
Why do you call him Sandwich Boy?
Because back when, you know, he threw a fit. You know, he's raising all kinds of money, and someone asked if you'd donate, and you said something like, "I wouldn't even throw that guy a damn sandwich," or just something like that. I
said that bitch can starve.
That bitch can starve. There you go. And he cried about it. Oh my God, please help me. He's so mean. So
he doesn't look like he needs a sandwich to me. He looks like he needs a shower. Now, yeah, this guy is one of the perpetuators of the myth that I am a Nazi. This guy single-handedly, with a bunch of other weirdos who look just like him, just like my Soy Boy sketch, decided to spread it around that I I don't know what, like Hitler? What? And convinced a lot of weirdos, a lot of creepy people that I am a white supremacist. Again, I am not a white supremacist at all. I am not a racist. I don't have racist views. I never have. I'm not proud of being white. I don't care that I'm white.
Well, not just that, they spread they spread it a lot, but they really kicked up on the day, the death in Charlottesville transpired when they had national media headlines going around about Nazis and Nazi sympathizers. This guy dropped his big complaints going right after DC. He went after you then as a Nazi sympathizer.
Yeah, this guy, you look at him and you go, what a weirdo, but like he knows what he's doing. Like he has friends in the tabloid far left wing pop culture media who will write articles for him. And one of those people was Asher Elbine, the guy who wrote the Daily Beast article that gets circulated around to like people like Ryan Johnson about Comicsgate, about what Comicsgate does. It harasses women and all of this stuff. That's his friend that did that. He instructed his friend, Asher Elbine, to write that article for The Atlantic. The Atlantic actually said, we don't know this dude. He doesn't work for us. And so Asher Elbine, that cracker ass, had to go and publish that article through the Daily Beast, Tug.
Yeah, well, it's funny, though, when they target people. Remember, this is the same guy that targeted Peter Samedi, an Asian man, for being a white supremacist, too.
That's exactly right. I mean, well, Tim Lim was a white supremacist, apparently. Asian Tim Lim.
That's right. I forgot about all that, too.
So here he is, okay? And once again, this is the guy who was behind quite a bit of persecution. He does have, or he used to have, a rather good social media outreach. He was plugged into all the right weirdos, and he was determined to destroy my life. I have a 3-year-old daughter. He was determined, this guy from England who'd never met me in his life. He was determined to make sure that I would be unable to feed, clothe, or house my 3-year-old daughter. This motherfucker right here. Excuse my language, Tug.
No, man. It's very... I would go further personally. When I get worked up, I go much further. So
yeah. So here we go. What did he do? He started a crowdfund. This is an update on the crowdfund on the Kickstarter on February 8, 2019 from Tracy Shepard, collaborator, the artist, who was transgendered. Hi, folks. Hey, folks. Tracy checking in here. It's been over a year since Kieran claimed the money from the Kickstarter got stolen, and multiple months of assurances that, quote, the bank would have it sorted out in a few weeks, unquote, before never mentioning it again. In the following 12 months, he has proceeded to not make a single effort to fulfill any of the remaining backers' physical rewards, even though he already had printed the books and had them handy enough to pass out at comic conventions he attended. In that time, he's also failed to send me any of my share of the books, stickers, etc. So not only did I never receive any of the product we raised money for, that would have also given me an opportunity to finish the fulfilling the outstanding U.S. orders myself, which was the agreed upon arrangement. But at this point, I'll just take the hit and get behind me. He's taken to ignoring me on social media. But since I still have access to the Kickstarter, I can still post this here. If you've never received your physical rewards, please contact Kieran through messaging on here on Twitter or email him to let him know you're still waiting. She never received payment for her work or any of the books because the money was stolen, according to Kieran, out of his bank.
I remember her posting about that. And then, we actually started talking about it, and Kieran, he was like, oh, those terrible comic skaters. And for a while, Tracy Shepard actually shut up about this issue because, they basically browbeat her into saying, if you bring this up, then you're siding with those pesky comic skaters.
Well, I reached out to her. I actually reached out to her. I don't know if you remember this. I said, do you want work? Come, I'll find something for you to do. You're pretty good. And of course, she did what SJWs do, which was to whip around and go, I wouldn't. I'd fucking rather die than rah, 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 and make a big deal about it.
Right.
But I did quite benevolently, Tug. Offer.
What a terrible person. She can go hang out with the other SJWs and starve, or she can get down with that pesky wrong thinker and actually get a little bit of money. What a terrible monster you are.
Well, this was a year ago, and now, of course, she's still not been paid, and she has to bring it up again. Now, here's Kieran finally acknowledging would be acknowledging and apologizing It's a
There
great
you go.
word. God, I invent great words, Doug. People quite rightly have questions about the Mossy, I guess that's the name of his project,
Yeah, Mossy.
Kicks Mossy, which has yet to be fully fulfilled. And they want to know what I have to say for myself. I'm not going to make excuses for it. It's all 100% my fault. This guy goes, I, for one, am interested in the how and why, and whether this new promise to fulfill obligations will actually be met, why others weren't, and why it took a public shaming to spur you into action if it happens. This post alone isn't enough of an apology. And then Kieran just goes into this whole kind of whiny thing. I posted a thread going into detail as to what happened, how I failed, why, and how I'm fixing it. I know for many it won't be enough, but I'm trying my best to be as honest and transparent as possible.
He's
Dude,
such a scammer, man. He's such a scammer. You know, when we looked him up, you know, talking about Comicsgate folks, we found 6 different times that he's run GoFundMes. You know, he ran one when he lost his job at Comics Alliance. He ran one right after the Sandwich Boy thing. He was like, oh, it's really mocking my life. And then one with his quote unquote stolen identity, one with the housing crisis, one to go overseas, apparently. And I forget what the other one is.
Right. Well, he again, you know, yeah, he I don't know what it is. He's into every single crowdfund. Like this Kickstarter was the only crowdfund that he did where he was supposed to produce something. He's got a coffee crowdfund, like buy me a cup of coffee. He's got a GoFundMe, a million GoFundMes, where he just whines. I don't know what he's doing, but he just whines about needing money. He will not get up and get it. He got a job once and got fired from it apparently immediately, or something.
He has a Patreon that makes, I think, eight or $900 I mean, he makes money. He makes about a minimum wage job just from that.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's part of the lie there. He works. He also lives off of government stipend of some sort. You know, I don't know the particulars to how that works abroad, but he's admitted. So he gets government money. He gets Patreon in the form of almost $1,000 a month. But hey, you know, give me more money, please.
More money. So I'm doing this because I'm tired of 2 things. I'm tired of number 1. I'm tired of these anti-comic skaters talking shit about our crowdfunded comics, which all get fulfilled. I mean, every single one of them. It's not going to happen. And then they all get fulfilled. CYBERFROG's coming, as you can see. It's coming. It's going to be pretty convenient to fulfill this project. You'll find out more about that soon. And it's on its way, but it's going to be perfect. It's not going to be a book that people can dunk on. It's going to be a great comic book. I poured my heart into it. I continue to. The other thing I don't like is I don't like these people talking about how Comicsgate mistreats transgender people. Now, we have a few transgender people in this community, and I believe they're treated very well. I believe they're treated with respect.
Yeah. I think so. I mean, you know, a lot of people say like straight up, hey, I don't care who you love, like how you identify, who cares? But that's not good enough. You know, in fact, I was told by saying, I don't care how you identify. Well, you don't care. That's the problem. You don't care enough. What do you
What does that mean?
Yeah.
So we do care, or we don't care really. I mean, we're just like, whatever you are is cool. We just really want you to enjoy our comics. We want you to come to our live streams. We want you to participate, be a part of this family. We're not lining you up. Like we don't sit there and go, okay, how many Black people do we have in Comicsgate? Do we need more? How many gays do we have? Do we need more? We don't really do that. We just go, everyone's welcome. And if you're having a good time, then that's cool. I mean, you know, Comicsgate is supposed to be about the comics. It's supposed to be about the customers. It's supposed to be about asserting some principles and having a good time. It's supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be fun.
Do you think it is? Do you think it always is?
No, that's what I want to talk to you about.
All right.
So
yeah, there's been some. Oh, go ahead.
No. I'll just introduce it by saying there's a lot of concern in the community right now, and I'm not fully comprehending everything that's going on because I'm busy doing other stuff. But can you kind of let me know?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people, you know, you always have an argument over semantics, over Comicsgate adjacent. You know, there are people that throw that out. I'm not Comicsgate, but now
Yeah.
there was an argument over a website, Indiegogo, that was Comicsgate, and that argument has ballooned. I'm not going to throw in the particulars of that argument, but the main point that people were bringing up, including myself, is we as comic skaters, you know, if you put out a project, you've been discriminated against by the mainstream press. You've been discriminated against by every listing out there. Can't we have a comic skate only thing? All you have to do when you go on there, you know, you're posting to a comic skate website. I think it had a little form that said, "Are you comic skate?" If people didn't want to, they didn't have to list there. You have that opportunity, but it became a big issue. It became more of an issue. Now, you know, again, there were particulars that go on about that, but I think that we can have when I say Comicsgate, they're very easy to understand terms. I want a good project, and I want creators that don't treat me like crap. They value my dollar, therefore they value me. So if you check that little box, you're not saying I am Comicsgate in the fact that, you know, I'm part of a club or a group think. What you're saying is I identify with these specific ideas. So
Yes. Do people understand that, do you think?
no, I mean, you have people, you have other creators that are good creators. You know, I'm not going to argue them, but one of the problems I ran into, I'm going to be very blunt about this. I've platformed dozens and dozens of people. I platformed for 8 months solid, and some of the people that were not willing to say, I'm down with Comicsgate, they end up talking trash about consumers, the Comicsgate consumers. They burn people in a lot of ways by disrespecting them. I've gotten to the point where I think Comicsgate money for Comicsgate pros. That's the way I look at it. I've been disrespected by the mainstream, by, you know,
What does that mean?
all the way through.
Comicsgate money for Comicsgate pros.
Yeah, you say
Explain that.
Yeah, you're down with the tenets of Comicsgate. You're going to a place that says, again, you're not going to disrespect consumers. Down the road, you're not going to attack that, you know, the 10,000 plus backers that are out there backing projects again and again. Yeah, you deserve money there. You bring a good product, but you also bring a specific mindset. You know, it's not a hard mindset, but apparently there are still people out there that think you don't have to respect after you get that money. You know, when I saw somebody going out and disrespecting consumers after they had finally had their first project completed, you know, they were disrespecting Comicsgate consumers 12 hours after 4 failures of having, you know, they finally get that. They finally get it. And yeah, yet they don't get it. They don't get the mindset. So I'll never make that mistake again. You know, I just, if people don't like that, if they want to call that a purity test, hey, I'm not letting Gail Simone have my money either. So,
Yeah, I think the only thing that Comicsgate needs to do is protect itself from SJWs. That is necessary. We have to keep SJWs out because part of being Comicsgate, part of what Comicsgate is defiance of social justice warriors and the fact that they are anti-consumer. They're anti-capitalism and they destroy everything from the inside out. So they need to be kept out. But aside from that, like I really do want to keep Comicsgate open to people who just say, "Look, I'm Comicsgate." Now, if you announce that you are Comicsgate, consequences come from that. Simply saying, "I'm Comicsgate," okay? I don't have to get along with Ethan. I don't like Ethan. I don't have to get along with John Malin, even though I like John Malin. I don't have to get along with Tug. I don't have to get along with any of these people. But I'm Comicsgate. I'm over here doing my own thing. That's something that has to be respected because aligning with these principles is all we really need you to do. It's all the customers really need you to do in order for their product to be safe, in order for them to know that they're being respected. Now, Comicsgate itself, which is just code of ethics, essentially, that's all Comicsgate is, contains many cliques, little groups of friends. I mean, you're in my clique, Tug. You know, it's like you're my friend. And that's why you're on the show right now. And somebody else who's Comicsgate is not on my show because I don't know them or because I don't like them. Any particular reason. But it's like Comicsgate is broken up into a lot of little cliques. full of people who hang out together, and those cliques don't tend to get along. And that's fine. Here's what I want. Here's what I expect from comic skaters. I just expect them to be fully comic skate. I don't like the word comic skate adjacent. I don't like it. I don't know what it means.
I don't. It means that you don't your stones. You don't have them. You can't actually drop your stones and say, I'm down with this. It says I like your money, but that's my problem. You like my money, but so. But what does that really say? It's just like when people say, when you go out as a professional and you say, well, I'm not a comic skater, but okay, well, when you say that, what you're doing, you're placating people that are talking about all the consumers out there. They're not talking about a mindset. They're not talking about anything else other than consumers. So if you're throwing out adjacent or other words, basically to appease that platform out there, I don't care. I don't want it. You, Mike Miller, folks like that, you guys have been deplatformed. You've been aimed at. You guys are the reasons a lot of us got into this, and indies too. There should be a way for you to go and work. And if the mainstream won't let you, then fuck them. We'll take our money. We'll take it away from the mainstream and any other person that doesn't have the stones to stand up, and we'll put it there. That's what I mean by comic skate money for comic skaters.
Yeah. Now, that doesn't mean that people who are comic skate adjacent or call themselves adjacent, that we should have any real problems with them. I don't have a problem with them. They can go do their thing. I mean, you've got guys like Peter Simeti over at Alterna. Peter Simeti is a dynamite publisher. He's not going to declare himself comic skate. He's just saying, I like some of your principles and I'm going to incorporate them into this business. I like that. I think that's cool. And I think that's fine. I don't even think he uses the word adjacent. I think that's been foisted on him. I think he's just cool with Comicsgate.
Yeah, he that man is Comicsgate. I hate to break that to people. So? That man is I believe in his heart. He's never said that. I do not want him being labeled that because I say that. But yes, his tenets that he sets down, that man he's more Comicsgate than anyone. He's as Comicsgate as me or anyone else. He respects. Look what he paid for what he did, for standing up for consumers. That's
he got swatted.
Yeah.
So whether or not, I guess whether or not he thinks he's Comicsgate, and I got to take a man at his word. If he's not going to say that himself, that's one thing. But whether he thinks he's Comicsgate or not, somebody else does. So
the problem with the adjacents too, that you run into again, I don't want to say that much more. The people who don't throw down with that, like. Peter Simeti says, hey, I'm not anything, but I love every customer. I love you all, and he's not trying to separate from us or differentiate. He loves the idea. He's a capitalist. Hey, I like capitalists.
He's a publisher who would hire you.
Mm-hmm.
That's important. That's just important. I think, Peter Simeti would hire a comic skater, and that's what we need. Okay. That's the change that we want to see in the industry. We want to make it so that some of these companies out there, some of these indie companies, lose their prejudice over Comicsgate and actually are willing to hire and employ comic skaters. I'm going to make that happen. That's one of the things I'm going to do. I'm going to make that happen, Tug. I'm going to make it so that the mainstream hires Comicsgate. Do you believe me?
If they don't kill the mainstream, I mean, that's I'm wondering how long it'll take them. If not, I believe you'll build an industry where they won't matter. Yeah, I mean, look at the amount of money there. You got a lot of backing. I think you could build your own mainstream over time, if you do things right.
I want Comicsgate to take over. I want it to be the new attitude. And that's inevitable. And that's why we're getting some resistance, but also people are starting to quiet down when they see that we kind of mean business. All right, let me read some of these super chats, Tug. These people are like, read super chats, read them. So there's some important stuff here. Ace, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce your name. Icy Bechet says, hey, Uncle E, who made it into your comic page from Twitter last night? Love Charlie's London, my fiance, and are in a selfie war over this. I think 4 people made it in, and I'm not so sure of all of their names. I can't remember. I just looked at the pictures that I like the best, and I put them in there. I know Tristan made it in there. Nerdette, she's in there. And I'm not sure who else. Jake Foley says, "Good morning, gentlemen. Who's this soy face on the screen? Did his wife's boyfriend buy him a Switch?" That's what it looks like to me. Yes. Matt Rosenfeld says, "Hail Caesar, I'm trying to draw comics pages while on vacation and was wondering, does it get easier? I'm finding the process for pages to be much more difficult than just drawing pinups." It never gets easier, Matt, but more inspiration is gonna happen for you the better that you get. You're gonna dream about how to tell a story, and you're gonna get up and be able to do it. And I promise you, you're gonna be overjoyed when those moments of inspiration hit you. That's what drawing comics is all about. Moments of inspiration, communicating a story to other people. And listen, storytelling is something that we all need to get better at, because storytelling is communication. Tug does it every single day on his live streams. He tells you stories. I do too. You have to just make sure that the people who are hearing what you're saying understand and are following the thread, the plot thread. So the Batman says, "Uncle E finally got paid today. I ordered my copy of CyberFrog Bloodhoney while wearing my Fandom Menace t-shirt. Hashtag Comicsgate for life." Dude, that is awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And by the way, Comicsgate or CyberFrog Bloodhoney just passed $90,000 in its first week. $90,171. That is amazing. We're going to keep going. I'm going to see what we can do. I'm going to promote the hell out of this and see if we can get this overall campaign to $1 million. That we're about $200,000 away from that. We have 5 weeks to do it. We'll see if we can do it.
That's amazing to even say. I mean, that is absolutely amazing.
Here's the thing. Now that I know Scott Snyder is doing one, it's like I gotta just kind of run up my score a little bit, because I don't even know. I have no idea how well his is gonna do. But I like saying that mine's the biggest, and be referring to something other than my nose, Tug. Sometimes. Hey, did Edwin come in? Was that Edwin's laugh?
Yep.
Yes, he was.
Edwin's here. Hey, Edwin, how are you doing?
Hey, aloha. I'm probably a little bit loopy. We started a demolition job at night, so I slept about 2 hours during the day yesterday. Got up and then started up that job. But yeah, I'm doing great. Hey, can I take 2 minutes and explain Indicron? Is that possible?
No, please do.
Okay. All right. So the origin of Indicron. When you, John Malin, Richard Meyer started making your books, like me and Tug have kind of taken turns following Comicron, dissecting Comicron. Like we're both numbers guys, right? Mm-hmm. And so I started a spreadsheet. And I tracked the progress of Richard's and your particular Indiegogos, right? So I could compare it. I wanted to be able to compare it to the progress and sales of corporate comic books. And so I've still got the old Excel spreadsheets on my desk. Now, back before we kind of had a parting of the ways, John De La Rose had a blog that got a lot of traffic. And so my thought was, you know what? We're going to list these numbers on John's website. And so I moved all my Excel spreadsheets over into a Google spreadsheet, and I named it Indicron. And we hosted it on John De La Rose's his blog. And I was manually updating everything. I mean, every day I would have to come home from work and like type in numbers to a spreadsheet after typing in numbers to a spreadsheet at work. And so a gentleman named Pixel Trader said, "Edwin, tell me how you do this stuff. How do you update your data in Indicron?" And so I explained to him my process, and he said, "Oh my God, are you retarded? Why do you do that?" Can I say that? It's towards me. I don't mean that in a disparaging sense. And I was like, yeah, I am a little bit. I'm not technically competent like some of you gentlemen. He's like, "Well, Edwin, tell you what, let me take this and run with this, because I can get a domain name right now. I can set this up and automate it and do all this stuff with it." And I'm like, "Yes, please do." Mm-hmm. So I invented Indicron. And it was my desire to be able to have like some kind of comparison. And then when people were able to give me more tools, right, to make it a more functional thing where we could get promotion, and Pixel Trader measures this from the time he stood up Indicron. Indiegogo gives you a direct tracker, right? And Pixel Trader through Indicron has driven over $50,000 in sales in Indiegogo comic books from direct referrals from Indicron. So it's been like an amazing tool to help out a lot of these people. But that's where it came from. That's where it came from.
Okay, yeah. So what are the rules for getting on Indicron?
Okay, right now and for the last several months. Now, when I first started the spreadsheet, I actually had tabs for kind of like other indies, like web comics, other stuff that I was interested in. But wanted to have it wanted it to be a clear tool for Comicsgate, right? Because I've been passionate about Comicsgate. I don't know if you remember when I used to make my Twitter videos with the hashtag with like my camera pointing up my nose and
yeah. No, I mean, one of the things that you do better than anyone, Edwin, is you communicate very, very well. And this is important. It's all part of storytelling. Okay. It's all related.
Yeah.
When you answer someone on Twitter, just so that you're not misunderstood, you make a short 2-minute video. You speak to them. And so you're somebody who people trust because you work hard to not be misunderstood. So I trust you to be very clear about this and let people know this is where some problems are going to pop up. This is where we're going to find some static, is figuring out who gets to be on Indicron.
Yeah, and this will probably generally be a point of contention. And let me say something. Indicron has never been monetized. It's never been monetized. So everybody that's done that work, Pixel paid for that server, that domain name, and coded that whole website out of love. We had two great Indicron ambassadors, Dr. Wright and Jean-Luc Michel, both very passionate individuals working as a labor of love. Now, they are very protective. They are very protective of Comicsgate, right? And who gets on and who doesn't go on. And some people may not have agreed with their judgment, but everything they did was done out of passion, done out of principle, and the desire to protect it. Well, what a lot of people are worried about is people who just want to show up, adopt the name, and try and take money based on that, right?
That's a tough thing to do.
It is.
It's like saying you're gay when you're not gay. It's like if you're Comicsgate, you're making a very clear statement that people are going to make judgments about you from there on out. And so it better be in your own interest permanently to accept the fact that saying that you're Comicsgate is something that you're sincere about. It's going to mean most likely, at least for the foreseeable future that we can see right now on the track that we're on, that you are going to forfeit the chance to work in mainstream comics, that you are going to be persecuted by mainstream comics personalities, that you are going to be isolated, mistreated. You're going to be a leper to a lot of SJW comic book fans. So this isn't something that you want to lie about. This isn't something that you want to... We also don't want half measures. We don't want people dipping a toe in. We have respect for people who say, I think you're right about a few things, but I'm not fully on board with Comicsgate. That this nasty term Comicsgate adjacent has popped up. I don't like that term. Let's throw that out. You're either Comicsgate or you're not. We want our Comicsgate principles, however many there are, to seep into the mainstream. But this word, this poisonous phrase, Comicsgate adjacent, needs to get out of here. You are either Comicsgate or you are not Comicsgate. And if you believe in some of the stuff we say, good, you're half smart.
With the analogy I made for people, because some people were upset that Comicsgate wasn't, that Indicron wasn't accepting a wide variety of consumers. The analogy I made was, or not consumers, but creators. And just to be clear, Indicron does not have any customers. It's not monetized. Indicron has users, and those users are creators who choose to use like the upcoming profiles, who decide to augment, the descriptions of their stories. And then it has Comicsgate people who go there for information. But Indicron doesn't have any customers. There's no monetary transactions.
Why not?
Now,
Why? How are you going to? Are you going to put ads? Are you gonna? You've got to do that, Edwin. You've got to monetize Indicron.
Probably not. Probably not. It's an aggregator site. And a lot of people from the community believe it's a part of theirs, and a lot of people are very passionate about it. Now, Pixel Trader owns Indicron.com. He owns Indicron.com. And he's looking at some things he can do with it, and we want to maintain it. We want to maintain it because people are so passionate about it.
Here's what I would like to say right now, Edwin, and I'm telling you, you guys need to get ads on it. You need to monetize it. You need to use Google AdSense to monetize Indicron so that there can never be any doubt about why that site exists and the decisions it's making. You can be pure when there's no other interest, because all of your money, people can see your money is coming from Pepsi Cola ads.
Right.
That's how you're getting paid. And it doesn't make any sense to not do that. Comicsgate is about making money as well. So people do want to see this site profitable and making you guys money. You've spent so much time and energy, Edwin, promoting Comicsgate for free. And it's about time. And these people will tell you, they want to see you make money. So if you're thinking that putting ads on this site is going to look noble to people, or not putting ads on the site is going to look noble to people, you're wrong. Put ads on the site,
but we have now Pixel Trader, Ben Henderson, and I have a joint venture now. And we're going to do some cool things, and we've got some fun stuff planned.
Right.
But yeah, I wanted everybody to understand the origin. I wanted everybody to understand the origin of Indicron, and I probably need to give more praise to Dr. Wright and to Jean-Luc Michel. One thing I'll say, and it sounds like the War Campaign is also standing up a similar site called CG Only, which I think is fantastic. But here's what I'll tell people: to date, everything that has been done has been a labor of love. Now, these people who volunteer their time love this community, love to promote stuff, but that's not an obligation. There's no formal relationship. There's no formal contract, right? They're going to try and make something that's engaging, right? Going to try and promote everybody's enjoyment in the production of stuff. But none of these people who are volunteering their time deserve abuse. If you're an independent creator and you find that these services don't serve you, these volunteer services are not obligated to provide you with a product. And if you don't believe me, today what I want you to do is I want you to go to Wendy's, or I want you to go to Burger King, and I want you to order a Big Mac. And when Wendy's or Burger King does not serve you a Big Mac, I want you to scream and shriek and make a soey face and wail and demand to speak to the manager, because you want Wendy's or Burger King to serve you a Big Mac. And I mean make a big noise, like call 911 and say Burger King and Wendy's refuses to serve me a Big Mac. I mean, make a big deal out of it. And then report back to me and let me know how that goes. But all right, everybody's passionate, which is the great thing. Love you, sweetie. I had to say goodbye to my wife. I'm
Mrs. Boyette.
Everybody's passionate about this stuff, right? And we respect that. We love that. That's what makes Comicsgate fantastic. Everybody who's in Comicsgate is a highly engaged, motivated, passionate person, right? They love comic books. They hate what's happened to the industry. They love getting their hands dirty and mixing it up. But if any of these services that you don't have a financial relationship to, you're not a customer, you're not a consumer, we owe each other the fundamental respect and courtesy that we owe anybody. And these people want to do a great job, but your passion doesn't give you a license to abuse any of these people or say you're a horrible person for not listing my book. Or
Well, I'd want to know why. I mean,
sure, you should have a
question,
discussion, but not a not threatening people or please don't do that.
No, don't do that. Here's the thing though. I don't think that should be a question. I think if somebody is creating a website that is going to list all books created by people who align with Comicsgate, and these people clearly do align with Comicsgate. We're not talking, as I already said, I believe that, if you say you're Comicsgate, that comes with a lot of trouble, and that should be respected, whether or not we like these people, whether or not, this person is my favorite person in the world or not. If I don't like them, if you've said that you're Comicsgate, we have to kind of respect that, and they go over there, do their own thing, but they're Comicsgate. So if you're somebody who's setting up a site that says these are Comicsgate books and you're excluding that person, I'd need to know why. And it's not just, well, it's our site. That's not a good enough reason for me.
And sure, and you could have that discussion. I think sometimes we try and work out substantively difficult issues in live forums, and I think for a lot of people that doesn't work well, because what happens is a lot of people get defensive, or a lot of people come to the table and they may not have all the information, or they may have limited information. And so what I always tell people, if something is made you so mad where you've got to take action today, start with a direct message to that person, and try and deal with that person directly and in confidence first.
But Edwin, you're on the hot seat here. I need you to answer this direct question.
Sure.
Ask now, we're friends, but now you're putting yourself in a position where you're going to be able to gatekeep. You're going to be able to purity test people.
Okay, on Indicron, and Pixel may decide to modify this. I do not want to be an inquisitor. If the leader of the campaign, whoever the campaign holder is on Indiegogo, tells me he is Comicsgate, and a cursory search doesn't prove that differently, then he's Comicsgate. And I don't care about his other team members, because people assemble teams from all over the place, right? That aren't explicitly Comicsgate, right?
That's right.
They have letters come from different places. They have colors come from different places. If the team leader says they are Comicsgate, and I check out his Twitter, or I know who he is, and we almost all know who each other are, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't see him, saying all kinds of crazy stuff, then he's Comicsgate. It's good enough for me.
Yeah, good.
I'm not here to be a purity tester, or to quiz people, or to pull their credit report and all that. That is insanity. That is insanity.
Umbrella Guy, what do you think of that?
I think I trust Edwin. I actually trust. I'm glad that there's somebody.
I trust him too, but I want to, Edwin, you got to know that I'm a big voice in Comicsgate, and I'm gonna check and balance you about this, because I don't like everybody. You're in my clique, you're in my group here, you're my pal, but I got to make sure that Comicsgaters who align with the movement, who understand what it means, and who make that announcement, who wear that T-shirt, who say I'm Comicsgate, get listed with other Comicsgaters on a site that aggregates Comicsgate projects, no matter if we like them or not. That's just gotta happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, can't have. I will even sometimes make promos for people that I'm not particularly fond of sometimes, but I want to see them succeed, and they're working hard. You know what I mean? Because mm-hmm. I am about, like, there's people that are great at calling out bad behavior. Tug is great at this. You are good at this. Yellow Flash is like a beast at this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. My focus is setting a positive example. Somebody in the chat is saying me and Doug need to have a debate. No, we don't. We don't.
Are you and Doug at odds right now? I'm not following everything.
No. Me and Doug are absolutely not at odds. He went off on me a little bit, and I think he did it from a position of principle, right? Mm-hmm. But you know what? Most anger slides past me, And I always say, be the best version of yourself that you can be at any moment. And I never want to be the author of anybody's misfortune. I love seeing stuff get built. And sometimes passionate men will stick their feet in their mouth. It happens.
Yeah. By the way,
But
people in
no.
the chat are saying Vox Day is Comicsgate then, or Vox Day would be on Indiecron. Vox Day is not Comicsgate. Vox Day believes in explicitly partisan comics.
Yeah,
that's what Vox Day stands for. He is, look, he's what we would call Comicsgate adjacent. He agrees with some of some of Comicsgate standards, but not all of them, obviously.
Well, yeah, and that's a whole different can of worms. I find Vox Day morally repugnant. And now any of you, one, tell me what, because you said you were going to check on me. So let's figure something out.
Mm-hmm.
What is my obligation to the community? As a volunteer of my time, what is my obligation?
You are not, first of all, your obligation to the community is to make sure that this is not a volunteer situation. That is first and foremost.
Well, we've got some plans for some ventures. We've got some plans for me, Ben Henderson, and Pixel Trader have got some big things planned. Because of its nature, it's almost good not to have Indiecron monetized, because we never want to look like it's pay to play where there's preference or anything like that because of compensation. It's better to keep it clean. And the only litmus test should be your Comicsgate, and we know it. If you want to talk to me about business stuff offline,
no. I agree with no pay to play. No pay to play. Like, these guys shouldn't be paying you anything, and that's why the money needs to come from advertising.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that the motivation for producing the site every day can't be the goodness of your heart. You need to get paid for it.
I have reasons. I have particular reasons for that, which I'm not going to talk about. But I want it to stay pure.
Okay, I'll talk to you about that in private.
Yeah. Okay. Very good.
I want to see what, because I apparently there's something here that I gotta hear the I don't know, something might not be for public consumption, but my feeling in general is that when people are making money, that is, we know what they're all about. They're right. In other words, if you're running a site that may or may not include somebody. If you're doing something that some form of gatekeeping or purity testing is almost inevitable. I need to know, and I think people need to know, that your motivations for running this website are purely mercenary. You're doing this for money.
And hey, there's another cool thing that's coming up, though. Work Campaign is standing up a site called CG Only.
Right.
And so there's going to be alternatives. There's going to be alternatives and even more services. So it's fantastic. There's all this cool infrastructure springing up around Comicsgate.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, there a bunch of people are going to be trying to do these aggregate websites. Because I do hear from a lot of people, hey, how do I know, what Comicsgate projects are out there? I need to know.
And I hear you on that, but I'm a project manager, right? And I'm blessed, man. I do pretty well. I manage millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of work every year. I stand up big projects every week. So I've got my for-profit stuff and I've got my passion stuff. And sometimes I like to keep some of those clean. But now I am going to do some for-profit stuff with Ben Henderson and Pixel Trader, where we're going to build up some real cool infrastructure. Comicsgate is my passion project. I
got it. Yeah, I know about the Ben Henderson stuff. So, all right. So, very good. But again, I'll talk to you about this in private. I'll talk to you this. So I appreciate your passion. I mean, Edwin, you are invaluable to this community. People trust you. And if you look at the chat, I mean, people are saying, trust Edwin. Trust Edwin. We trust Edwin to do this. And I think that's good. But on the other hand, like, I always want to know why people are doing something. And I wish that you did need money. Because that would make sense to me. I would be like, okay, he's working on this because there's a profit motive for him, and a profit motive is important because that is the reason why you do something, and there are no other reasons that can be debated.
Well,
And
I
I
mean,
think that's
yeah, but there are a lot of
Well,
people that are involved that, you know, they have altruistic motives in the fact that they want a better industry. I mean, that's just like there are a lot of channels that aren't monetized in any way. You know, there are
Mhm.
people that participate. They don't, what they gain is a better product at the end of the day. You know, a lot of us, we also, you know, for myself, sticking a middle finger up at the mainstream comic industry and to some of these people, it's kind of fun. You know, it's
Yeah.
nice to tell them they can't have what they want.
well,
I love that.
Comicsgate is the only cultural movement that I've seen in my lifetime that has won. And so my selfish aspect of this is changing culture by providing alternatives. And so by advancing you men in your success, you are my hammers and my levers on society by changing and offering something different. So a few people with this vast corporate power can't have this monoculture tyranny over everything with their particular agendas. And so that is my selfish motive. You gentlemen are my levers and hammers, and your success makes you even bigger levers and hammers. And I love it. I love seeing you guys get rich, entertain people, and have like audiences grow. It makes me so happy every time I see it.
Damn. Yeah, I love Comicsgate. I love it. And you know what I don't like? I don't like conflict within Comicsgate. I don't like people being unhappy. I don't like people fighting over things. I don't like misunderstandings. And I don't like that. I think this is supposed to be something that's meant to be fun. Comic books. This is all about the love of comic books. It's all about building our own comic book industry, our own comic book related family. It's all about creators having a place to come and work and sell their projects if they're good enough, and make a living in comics. You know, my ambition, I was talking to a friend about this, and I said, my entire ambition for Comicsgate, where I see myself 5 years from now, is at a little company picnic for All Caps Comics, where I have at least 5 families, and we're at a picnic, and I'm watching them with their kids, and I'm knowing that those people are making a really, really good living in comics because of everything that I did. And that is my goal. That is my ambition. And I'm one step closer to that right now. As things improve and get better, that's where I want to be. And I think everybody should want to be that way. I think every one of these creative people who are doing their own comics right now, you have an opportunity within Comicsgate to grow your brand, to create your own little publishing house, and someday employ and pay other people. You know, we can do that. We can do that together, or we can fight. We can be myopic. We can be selfish. We can get into squabbles, and we can lose sight of the ball, and then they win. Then those people win. You know, the SJWs, and boy, will they be happy to see us fighting with each other over things that don't really matter. Now, we don't all have to get along. But the idea that this is a club and that you can, people can be excluded, people can leave, people, you know, might not feel at home in some way. These things have to be stopped, man. We have to re-examine what we're doing here and what Comicsgate actually is. Comicsgate is it is just a code of ethics. That's all it is. It's a belief system about the way business should be done in the comic book industry. And if we can't get it, we can't get it from the companies themselves, we have to do it on our own, and we have to do it together. And the only way we can do it is by cooperating.
Absolutely.
So I'm here to help out any way that I can, Edwin. I want to make sure that young creators, or even old creators who are doing their campaigns, who take that step, man, and look in the face of all of these angry, sneering, nasty people and say, I'm Comicsgate. That those people get our support, even if we don't like them, even if we have a problem.
And there's a cost, and so we need to give special recognition to people who are in Comicsgate. I wore a Comicsgate and Stand with Vic polo shirt to a convention, and someone tried to have me murdered because of it.
Yeah.
How ridiculous.
Dude, you've been there, man. You have paid the price. You've stood up for Comicsgate, and you paid the price in a way that people aren't going to forget. People respect.
But hey, let me say one thing. I have a small channel, but one thing for creators who are coming out. Oh, sorry. Of course, I'm trying to talk, so there's the traffic noise. I try to help people with their campaigns so they can have the best looking campaign possible. And so if you're a creator, when I'm going to do one of these showcases, let me know if I need to cover your book. I will never criticize somebody's book itself. Never going to do that, because I never want to turn off somebody from some book, right? But what I'll do is I'll take a real hard look at your campaign and make sure you've got a good sales pitch. You're making yourself accessible to people, compelling. And so if I can ever help anybody with that, please let me know.
Yeah, that's a big thing. What do you think, Umbrella Guy? What are we missing?
Well, I think there will be more questions that come up when it comes to Indicron. I think there will be more discussion. I think that as long as we can have discussion, that's one of the things. We had a lot of stuff flying back and forth. A lot of people that were angry, and I was when getting involved in that, I wasn't telling people not to bring up points, not to have discussion. It's that sometimes we just lose sight of that. We start memeing at each other and things, and
please do tell us if you want something or if you disagree with us, but please be kind to our volunteers. And when CG Only stands up, I think CG Only, Rokabar, Ro is putting that together, and I believe they're going to have a committee with Black Cap, and I love that guy. I love that guy's voice so much. I got to have him on, and Eddie the Ace. When those guys are going to be sort of like the approval committee, just doing that quick check to make sure that someone is Comicsgate. They're volunteering their time. Treat them well. Treat them well. If you disagree with them, let them know. But you don't need to blast those guys. That's not necessary. Come to them like men. If you have a substantive disagreement, approach them in private and talk through it. We can be professional about these things, and it's always the right moment to choose kindness. Right? Don't make somebody an opponent that doesn't need to be an opponent. Make them your ally, or even better, make them your advocate.
I love it. All right, thank you, Edwin. Like Tug said, there'll be more questions with Indicron because this is just going to be way too complicated as it goes on. And I know you're involved in a lot of other things. Comicsgate is trying to branch out and become bigger. It's increasing in scale, Edwin.
It is, and I hope it does. It needs to get, the bigger it gets, the more wonderful creations will appear, and the more directly it can influence culture and society at large. And there needs to be a place, like, not everybody wants to wade through this minutia. Can I share a quote with you? This guy told me he posted it, and I asked him if I could share it, and he said, yeah. He said, I back CYBERFROG because I love it, right? But this is probably my last book because, and he used profanity, so I won't use profanity. But I don't want to wade through a river of crap to buy a comic book.
So true.
And not everybody, some of us are hyper engaged. But you've got some people, some fans and consumers who'll catch a show here and there, who'll dip in and out of Twitter. They don't know the minutia. Let's make sure we're not punishing people for having an opinion that we disagree with, or we're not scaring off participation because somebody has liked the wrong thing, right?
Yeah. At the end of the day, I want everyone to buy CYBERFROG. Everyone. Even SJW can buy CYBERFROG.
Right. Like, even if the craziest soy-faced blue hairs want to buy 20 copies of your comic book, you want to sell it to them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Take their money. SJW money is the best money.
Doesn't exist.
Particularly when it goes in our pockets, it's even better.
Yeah.
All right.
Getting bigger too. I mean, we have to replace all infrastructure. We couldn't get these listed in any type of press, so we had to have friendly press. We have to have a friendly listing. If we can actually build up everything else infrastructure on, then
dude, look,
there's no way to lock us out.
Yeah. We've got Bounding into Comics. You know, we've got what's it? Cosmic Book News. We've got what else? Bleeding Fool. We've got all these sites, man. It's pretty cool. We are setting up a counter media, you know, that's honest, and that's a good thing. That's a great thing for Comicsgate.
Yeah. Critical Blast. I want to give them a shout out too.
Critical
Actually.
Blast. Yeah. I need a list in front of me so whenever I go through.
It's hard to remember them all, man. I mean, there's good ones, and some of them are getting much better as they go. You know, some of them have been in the game for a while, but they're getting much better at it. I like having outlets where I can just ignore the noise about how we're all ists, phobes, and oh my god, did you see that new Spider-Man? It's like a 9.9. You know, no, I don't do that.
Yeah, it's silly. All right, let me read some super chats here. Sometimes Pop says, EVS, on a previous live stream, you mentioned that Funko is part of the problem. Can you expound on that? Yeah, well, Funko is part of the problem in a way. Just Pops are part of part of the problem. POP. The problem is that they kind of flatten out, make bland, pop culture icons. They're all in the same box. They make them cute and de-penis them and mass market them. They all look the same. It sends the wrong message. I got to do a video about the cutification of comics and how harmful that is. How they've totally stripped the testosterone from a character like Wolverine, because now he's got big eyes and a big head, and he's cute, he's little, he's got baby proportions. Who is this for? I don't understand who this is for. You're chasing off people that spend a lot of money on male power fantasies. For what? For people who just want to have something on their desk in their cubicle? It's weird. Jay Gatz says, got mine, number 1890. Oh, okay, so CYBERFROG BLOODHONEY is now well past $90,000. My goal, Edwin, is I want to get this to $1 million. I want CYBERFROG. Rainbow Brood, I think, might get there sooner, but we're at $90,206. I think we need to be at 300,000 in order to be at $1 million. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know, but I'm just going to keep it up. It's going to be up for like 6 weeks before we go to print. We're going to go to print in 6 weeks. That is the schedule right now. I have hired fulfillment, the very best fulfillment in comics, and a publisher, and an editor and all of that. And you guys will know all about that pretty soon. Yeah, so I'm on a tight deadline here to get this thing done in 6 weeks, and then everybody will have their CYBERFROGs. Well, it'll go to print in 6 weeks. I don't know how long. Honestly, I have no idea, but it's going to be done and going to print in 6 weeks. So I'm learning all about this right now. I don't know. I've never done this before. It'll be quicker the next time though. Zoidbot says, remember when Wizard would advertise complimentary audio tapes to popular comics? One of the best made was for the Max. It was so good. They used the audio for the Max TV show in the 90s. Best animated comic ever. Do we want to do stuff like that, Edwin?
Oh, it's fun. It's fun. Did you see the short promo I did for Mitch the other day for Red Rooster?
I didn't see that. No.
It's just like a minute, but yeah, that was so much fun. And I think it's powerful, but yeah, I enjoy doing that stuff. So I'm at work making one for Art T. Bear and making one for Mike Engerhauser from the Black Forest. Thankfully, that dude's at home and not having seizures anymore. So that's fantastic. He had a rough go of it, man.
Mike, we gotta everybody send prayers out to Mike. And is his campaign still going?
Yeah, it is. He could probably use some exposure, just because he was not able to be the best. He was not able to be the best representative for himself with everything he had to cope with. So he's spooling that back up. But yeah,
good. I wish him the best. I hope he gets well soon. Technotoad says, if you ever do a CYBERFROG cartoon, you should have Vic Mignogna be the voice of him. Tug being on the
yeah, that'd be awesome.
Now, what do you think? Can Vic do a Philadelphia accent?
I think it would be awesome. I think you could do it. I think you could pull it off. And my God, the outrage! Oh, it would be beautiful.
I'd have Vic be somebody. Vic, I don't know what Vic's voice sounds like, but I would totally use him.
Yeah, random person, random person 7. It doesn't matter if his name was
Dude,
attached to it. It'd be hilarious.
dude, you should get a hold of him because he's going through so much crap. Pay him to make a CyberFrog. Pay him to make a CyberFrog promo for you.
Well,
Why not? That would be.
I would do it.
Be amazing.
I'm not in touch with him at all. I think Vic has not reached out to me. And I mean, he's got so many people kind of standing up for him and stuff like that. And I don't know him very well. So, but yeah, I would definitely employ him for something just for laughs. It'd be great. He's a pretty good voice actor from what I understand. I don't know his work, but sure.
Yeah, like Full Metal Alchemist. I don't know if you've ran into any of those shows at all.
Dude, the crossover on that too, because Vic's faithful are so motivated right now. That would be epic. That would be epic. I bet Rakeisha can probably get a hold of him today.
Rakeisha, that sounds like some kind of bad outbreak or something.
How do you say I always want to call him Ricotta or Nick. While you're Nick.
Yeah.
I like Rakeisha. It sounds like a skin disease.
Oh no, you've got the Rakeisha.
Yeah, exactly.
Ethan, that would be so epic, and I bet you a lot of that audience would be like, well, yeah, let me check out a cool frog.
Well, I mean, again, I sympathize with what he's about, what he's going through right now. So, I mean, I would do it. I would probably do it. I just have to hear what his voice sounds like, because I wouldn't damage CyberFrog just for.
Well, he's got a lot of range. He's got a lot of range, but one of his big things is Kakarot!
Like that. Maybe he could be Salamandroid.
He's got a great voice. Yeah.
Sketch Therapy says, got the team up cover and Ashcan now. I'm 1891. Hail Caesar. Hail Sketch. GT Media Review says, love the shop talk. Great chat. Hiram Wood says, you're a legend, EVS. Love you, dude. Keep praying. And I am. I believe it. I am. And things are going. Edwin, I bought a house for Andrea.
Nice.
Good
man. Good man.
And we drove by it again today. We're not moving in until like June 1st, but is it June 1st? Yeah, June 1st. Man, is it beautiful, in a beautiful neighborhood. And I said, this is where we're going to grow old together. And this is where I'm going to be in the basement, drawing CyberFrog for the rest of my life. Just CyberFrog comics. It's in such a nice neighborhood. So she's just like, everyone's really happy over here.
Now, have you already lined the basement with tin foil to keep out the mind control waves?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. It's going to be totally Alex Jones down there. No, I've got somebody who's going to make me a big laughing man light up sign, like a big 3-dimensional laughing man sign to go behind me. I'm gonna have a full on. I'm gonna be like the Quartering. I'm gonna have a good studio set up. People are gonna be like, wow. So good times. Tarsik says, you sinner, you want to be rich from work? Says SJWs all the time. Of course, yeah. I mean, everybody should be aspire to be wealthy. I think that's noble. There's nothing good about being poor. There's nothing noble in it. It's just misery, and then you end up asking from other people. So you need to aspire to not have to ask anything from anyone. Sell something, get rich, enjoy life. Darth Gavel,
and two, so you can have charity, right? If you have abundance, if you have more than you need, then you can help other people, and that's a beautiful thing.
Well, Comicsgate does that all the time too, and that's what's great about it. We actually do set up charities. Since we've been here on this channel alone, we've helped the Male Cancer Society Research Center called Orchid. We have donated something like $6,000 or $7,000 to Mark Probst when he was in need. We've donated close to, my God, is it $10,000 to No Kid Hungry to make fun of the Captain Marvel Challenge charity. We've done all kinds of things here, and we've raised money for Richard C. Myers' lawsuit to defeat tortious interference in Comicsgate. And we have raised money for Jeremy Hambley so that we can't be assaulted when we go out in public. These are important things. I mean, Comicsgate really does kick some ass. We are a movement with that stands up for what it says and puts our money where our mouth is. So it's nice. Darth Gavel says, I'm not going to censor myself to comfort your ignorance. Says that's a quote from V. I like that quote. Not V, the YouTuber. I think V from V for Vendetta. I've never heard V say anything that bright ever.
Does he have glasses he can put on to sound more cerebral? Or?
When he puts his glasses on, he sounds smarter. I don't know. Diversity and Cecil says, oh, Kieran Shack went to see Hamilton, but he didn't have enough for a snack afterwards, so he crowdfunded a sandwich.
That's
Straight up bum. Still e-begged for rent. And by the way, I'm not hating on poor people like that. And even if you want to use GoFundMe, the problem is, like, this guy devotes most of his time when he could be raising an income to persecuting people like me and trying to get me fired and trying to make me unable to feed my family. That's why he's a despicable human being, not because he's poor, because that time that he should be spending for work, he spends on trying to hurt other people.
Not just that, you offered, okay, when he was saying he was going to be homeless, you said, hey, if you will prove this, then I will donate and help you out. And I mean, you put that out there, and I thought that was very telling too. You know, he wouldn't even consider providing proof. And you're like, hey, you know, I'll help you if you can prove something. But
yeah,
you know.
But then I also said, you can starve. I said, that bitch can starve. And I stand by that quote, quote unquote, that bitch can starve. And I mean it. He deserves it. You know, be kind. If you're poor, be kind. God's sake, like try to rack up some good karma. That would be nice. Yellow Flash says, don't forget the time he got a Switch. Yeah, he got a job and then he bought a Nintendo Switch and then he didn't pay his transgendered artist. So again, great guy. Josh the Amazing Animator said, only 11 days left for the Wanpool campaign. $2,116 of our $10,000 stretch goal of more story content. 11 days left. So we can, everybody go check out Wanpool. It looks like fun. It looks like a funny book. Yeah. Darth Gavel says, EVS, behind this mask is more than flesh. Behind this mask is an idea. Mr. SJW, and ideas are bulletproof. So that's what Comicsgate is. Yellow Flash says, I will only ever support Comicsgate creators. I like that too. That's where we're at right now. I mean, the mainstream has become so toxic to what we stand for and what we believe in. They've lied about us so much. Why would you ever give money to people you hate? That hate you, I mean. These people hate you. Why would you ever give money to them? Why would you ever buy their product when they hate you with every breath? They're not even quiet about their hatred for you. They wake up and they express hatred for you.
I spent a year talking about I spent a year talking about professionalism. I believe in professionalism, God forbid. And I have SJW creators out there that are like, oh my God, that dude over there, all he does is just talk about professionalism and consumer optics. How dare them? And it's like, man, you know, if that's the kind of person there, I will only support Comicsgate creators.
Of course.
They're select independent guys like Peter Samedi. That guy is a saint. That guy is a living example of kindness and forgiveness. And he's been assailed by the same people. He was assailed. So sometimes be careful with words. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to all of us. Peter Samedi was attacked because he was pleasant to Zach and pleasant to people in Comicsgate. He said, thank you for buying my comic book. Right? And so does that make him Comicsgate plus some adverb? No, he's Alternate Comic Books. Great human being. Human being who just wants to entertain people for pennies.
Let's not lie. He's Comicsgate. I'm telling you. He may not say that.
He will say it soon, but he needs to say it. I'm not going to put that on him, but other people put that on him.
I'm putting it on him as everything we stand for. That guy has and his company has bled for. I'll go that way then.
Well, I'm personally proud of being Comicsgate. I say I'm Comicsgate right in the faces of people who tell me that they hate Comicsgate. I'm Comicsgate. And, I'm proud of it. I think it's fantastic. I love being Comicsgate. I talk to my wife about it all the time. I'm proud of this movement. I'm proud of everybody that's a part of it. But at the same time, I want other people to feel the same thing. I don't want it to be something you're afraid of. But let's be honest. I mean, it does come with some consequences. They're all social. There are people who want to be Comicsgate, but who are afraid of being persecuted for it. I'll wait for those people to come out and say so. And then I will rejoice. And they all will eventually.
I don't know. I've been disappointed with some stuff with Comicsgate. I'll be blunt. You
Go
know,
ahead.
I guess we can talk. You know, well, I had a series of crazies target my stuff. You know, I platformed for a good 8 months. I've done, I would say 600 Comicsgate videos. I think that's fair. You know, it's probably more, but I'm gonna go with 600 things like that. You know, and then I had a crazy decide to copyright strike me, and you know, after that happened, plus I had a crazy go after my occupation, and yeah, out of all the people that I platformed and everything else, consumers were angry, you know, that I talked to about it. But Comicsgate pros, I had yourself, Kyung Lee, and I'm forgetting one other person actually stand up about it. I was very miffed about that. It had actually, I haven't platformed another person since, actually, since I've been back. I've been back over a month. I felt very not happy about that, you know, because we sell this idea of reciprocity, and there has to be reciprocity. We have to, if I stand up and I throw my job out there, I want to be very clear too. You did talk about this and stuff. I just, if we're going to take that risk, then if one of us gets capped right there, you know, somebody tries to destroy us, you got to feel like you can actually do something.
Yeah,
After
you know,
that,
I let Yellow Flash down when he got in trouble. Same thing. Like Yellow Flash got let down, felt let down by me because when he got attacked, I wasn't paying attention. You know, I was doing other things, and he felt like I let him down. And I'll try never to do that again. I'm not omniscient, but I mean, Comicsgate does need to. You know, we're family. We do need to look out for each other. And you know, that I would challenge people, you know, to be more aware of that. And if somebody like Tug is being attacked, we need to kind of just form Voltron. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, that's
Comicsgate
actually
needs
good way
to.
of looking at it. I
We need
like
to.
that.
We need to fucking form Voltron and protect Tug, and
I
everyone else does too.
I want to. I'll be blunt about this. The situation went like this. Someone false copyright flagged. I contacted YouTube. That's the process. They responded and said they would bring litigation. Now, if YouTube would have come down on their side, it could have cost me my channel. It could cost all of it. So, but I'd like to sue this guy.
Mm.
Honestly, he went after. He deprived my family of income. He turned my channel into about 20% of what it normally was. Hit growth plus, you know, all of that. I talked to a lawyer. I talked to Ricada at first about it and talked about case law. And then he referred me to a lawyer, and I talked to a lawyer, and yeah, you know, with that guy not trying to pursue litigation or anything else, that's, you know, punish these people for doing this. That's the only way we can stop them. Otherwise, you know, they will hit us every now and then. They'll hit us. They'll try to deplatform, like with the Mark Wade thing. That was deplatforming. This is another form of deplatforming. You know, they spit in our face. I want to spit back.
Mm-hmm.
And some people may not remember, but someone effectively doxed Tug and tried to get him fired for his job. So people, there's a price for the pundits. There's a price for the pundits who promote and stand up for the professionals. There's a risk, there's a price, there's a cost. So yeah. But Tug is fantastic, man. Tug is so good at laying out the case why something is bad, or breaking down this behavior, or looking at the nuts and bolts of it. Tug is amazing.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, Tug is invaluable. You know, I gotta figure out a way to hire Tug.
Well, I think we, as long we have our, I mean, we all have our role. You know, some of us too. I mean, we're consumer advocates or whatnot. Some of you, you know, you're pros plus consumer advocates. I mean, it's everybody plays an essential role in here. If there's a problem too, you know, I don't want people feeling like they're afraid to bring it up. That's a beautiful thing about this platform. You know, I can bitch about this right now here, and at the end of the day, you know, I can feel like it's sorted or not, but at least I can bring it up in Comicsgate.
Yeah, I like that you've got problems and you're speaking them. There are a lot of people who have problems and they keep them to themselves and they fester, and then those people become bitch asses. They become bitch made, and we don't need any of that in Comicsgate either. If you have a problem, let people know, man.
Have you ever heard of the idea of a covert contract, Ethan?
No.
covert contract is where people have these unspoken expectations.
Mhm.
And so please never have covert contracts with people where you believe that there's some sort of obligation that exists between you and another person, but you've never you've never clued that person in that you have these expectations. And so when you do projects, or if you work with, I'm talking to the wider audience now, when you do projects with people, when you do different things, if you have expectations, lay those out with people, right? Don't have covert contracts. Let people know what your expectations are, what you want out of something, and let
Hey,
them know up front.
I'll be right back. I got a work thing. 1 second.
There you go. Yeah, I agree with that, Edwin. I want to know, man. If somebody's got a problem with me, I want to know so I can try to fix it. You know,
Yeah, absolutely.
some people are polite. You know, they keep their problems to themselves. They gossip, and then if it's about me, like, I don't know what's going on. You have to understand. I'm juggling family, CyberFrog, YouTube. I don't, I'm not always aware. So I need to know if somebody's like, hey, man, like Nasser let me know. He's like, hey, man, I want you to promote my book more and not just make fun of me. And it's like, oh, well, that's a serious concern. I mean, when you come on the show, it ends up being kick Nasser, and all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, what about Nasser being able to promote his book like a serious creator? That's a good concern. And I'm glad he came to me and let me know. And Nasser will tell you, I treat him differently now.
Oh, good. That's good to
I
hear.
do. I like Nasser. I've always liked him. So that's a concern, Edwin. Yeah, everybody should kind of be open and not be bitch made bitches.
Well, I try to sleep on some stuff that if I ever feel really angry about something, one, I try and let that anger go, but I try and give it at least a little bit of time. Sometimes we get caught in these false urgency traps where, like, I'm mad now, I need to speak out now. Well, maybe not on everything.
We've seen that happen. We've seen that happen, haven't we?
Yeah, sometimes it's good to
take a few days off,
deliberate over something, cool off, and think about it. Very few things are as urgent as we think they are.
Yeah, I think you're right about that too. All right, Sketch Therapy again. Wow, thanks for 10. Sketch is in here giving me some money tonight, so I gotta salute Sketch Therapy. $10. He says, if you are not Comicsgate, you don't get my address, name, or money. If you're new, it'll be a while before I trust you. Nothing personal. I'm the same with all humans. Hail Caesar. Hail Sketch. Tarsik, $20. This is somewhat the conversation I had with Tug yesterday. If you support the tenants, but don't say you're Comicsgate because you don't agree with everybody in it, does that make me have any less value? This is a valid question. Tarsik, I would say this. You don't have to like or agree with anyone who's also Comicsgate. You don't have to like any of us. You just have to like the idea of Comicsgate. And you can build your own little family or clique or group of friends or whatever that is also Comicsgate. So, I mean, that's the thing. I wouldn't, the idea of saying, I'm Comicsgate, I know I believe in Comicsgate, but I don't like any of you guys. That shouldn't stop you from being Comicsgate. You just are Comicsgate, and that's perfectly respectable. And thanks for $20. I appreciate you. Andrew Huerta says, being Comicsgate adjacent is like being a vegan adjacent. It doesn't make any sense. You either are or you're not. That's right. Yanni Hill says, Mike Miller is Asian adjacent. Now, that's correct, Edwin.
That sounds accurate.
Yeah.
Asian adjacent. That's like...
Timeco Mechanic says, I agree with Tug. I fully support a Comicsgate only platform. There are people who only want the fans' money but hate the fans. This is antithetical to CG. GOP Gamer, thanks for $20, said, just got to say that Doug TenNapel is one of my favorite people in Comicsgate. He deserves our love and respect, in my humble opinion.
Yeah. Can I say something on that? Okay. People can disagree with Doug. Doug can be very coarse on things. Okay. If you have a problem with someone, voice the problem. Don't just get into a back and forth. I mean, if you really do, like, if you have problems with me or anyone else, like, make sure you're voicing that actual problem. I was telling people, hey, let's stop on Doug, and I didn't mean you can't voice your problems. I was saying more like, when you're cutting out his head and memeing him on like a insect body or something, it doesn't really make a point there.
Well, it's good if the problem that you have with someone is just something that they said. It'd be great to have that conversation. You know what I mean? That's something that we can get over. We're allowed to blow our tops and fuck up.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah,
that's going to happen. You know,
and even if I disagree on something with Doug, I still love that man. On two Friday night auctions in a row, he took his art pieces, these gorgeous art pieces, auctioned them off, and gave the money to help the Pittman family. Ollie Pittman. Ollie Pittman's wife had a brain aneurysm, right? They're a single income family. So now Ollie can't work. They homeschool kids, had all these things piling on their shoulders. Doug took beautiful, beautiful high level stuff. Some of it was kind of goofy, it's Doug, but no questions asked. Sold his art, gave the money to the Pittman family. I love that. You going to tell me that man's evil or bad? No. He's a passionate dude. Sometimes he's going to stick his Bigfoot bill right in his mouth. Yeah. That's okay. That's what passionate people produce amazing stuff. And we can forgive our brothers. We can forgive and hopefully they forgive us.
Well, he can take an insult too, So I always like that about certain people, as long as you don't have thin skin. He was telling us about how he had been Comicsgate since 2001, and I called him the Al Gore of Comicsgate, and he took that very well. He didn't blow his top or anything. So it was good. Yeah.
All right, we family is family.
Yeah.
Look, there's sometimes when my brother does something I don't like. We might not talk for like I've got 4 brothers, so not talking to one of my brothers for 5 years is no big deal. But it might happen, and then you just but you're still family. You got to get over it, move on if you can. It's important. It's important that we treat other people the way we want to be treated, and that goes all the way around. Cat Rachel White says, "Thank you, Tug, for fighting for us."
And hey, we've got to. I feel like I have to do it. I don't know. I see a problem there. I love this medium. I mean, I can't. That's why when we were talking about Edwin doing things altruistically, I love this freaking medium. I always have. Like I said, I've got connection to people that are no longer with me, and I have to. But consumers, like we can't have this. Comicsgate, it can't fuck up. It can't die, because if it dies, then I firmly believe we'll have comics in independent, you'll have indies out there, but right now we have a chance to be not only setting up something new, but be respected as consumers. So it can't die. We have to have a voice in it.
Agree. It's too important. This is too important. All right. So let's see. Black Death says, "I found you, Tug, and others through Yellow Flash, and your guys' content has saved my life and made it so much better. Thank you so much. I stand with y'all."
Shout out to Yellow Flash, by the way, for sure.
Kevin Freer, he was in the chat earlier. Respect to Yellow Flash. Kevin Freer says, "As things grow, will you be accepting submissions? I'm interested in doing comic work for you, and I'd like to know the best way to make that happen." Kevin, as things grow, I'm here. I'll be using Comicsgate as a ground for me to find talent to exploit. Of course, I want to make money. I'm gonna find you guys, and the good ones, I'm gonna pull you out. I'm gonna pay you a page rate to make me more money to draw my stuff. That's what I want to do. So you bet. It's not a case of submission. Just always send me stuff on Twitter. If you draw CYBERFROG, send it over on Twitter, at me in it, and say, "Look, I just drew your characters. And let me just see what you're up to. I remember names, and if you're interested in working for me or with me on something, then draw my stuff." Mike Jenkins says, "KFC for lunch equals explosive diarrhea adjacent." I just disagree with that, Mike. I love KFC. I only eat it 3 times a year, but boy, do I enjoy it. What do you guys think? No?
KFC maybe a couple times a year. We just don't eat a whole lot of junk food.
No, man, we have, I don't know. We have, this is the South. I mean, people know how to fry stuff around here.
Yeah, that's true. You don't need to go to KFC. We don't have anything like that in New Jersey. Sketch Therapy says, "Exploit. Will you Zoe Quinn him, Uncle E?" No, I'll actually pay him, Sketch Therapy. By exploit, I just mean make him draw my stuff for a rate.
Hey, can I give a shout out for somebody, because he's dealing with some difficult stuff right now?
Yeah.
Jean-Luc Michel, who did fantastic work for us at Indicron as a volunteer. He's kind of, one of his family members is having a lot of medical problems, and he's pretty much in the hospital every day. He's working on his own comic book, which hopefully is coming up in the next couple of months. You can find it on upcoming on Indicron. It is called Fireball. Fireball. This is Jean-Luc Michel. So feisty guy, but he's got a good heart. He's got a good heart, and he's wrestling with a whole lot. And so have some prayers for him, have some patience for him. But more than that, follow along on this project. And hopefully when it comes out, be something that'll fire you up. And that's Fireball by Jean-Luc Michel.
Yeah. All right, very good. Rhino says, for those who say nobody would leak info to Crypto Comics because it's bad business, don't forget Chris Rial was willing to destroy IDW and all those jobs to protect Citizen. That's the power of hate. Something to think about. I don't,
actually, those IDW numbers are amazing this year. Did you see the final numbers for the year, by the way?
No.
30. Okay, so $49 million company, they lost $36 million last year. That doesn't count debt that'll be accruing. They have another 20 rolling in. So they'll have $56 million of expenditure. I don't know how much cash on hand yet. They haven't released that number, but $49 million company, $56 million problem. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, Dynamite Comics skipped ahead of them. Dynamite Comics is now the number 5 biggest comic book company in comics. They kicked Boom and IDW to the curb. Huge. That's just huge news, right? I mean,
yeah, well, it's amazing. Like IDW was firmly, they'd firmly planted their flag at number 4. They stayed there forever. And then 2 years, they started falling back and forth. And then, oh God, their fourth quarter was so bad. They borrowed, I think, $28.8 million. They had to borrow it from a main guy. It was so bad that their new CEO, he actually quit after 7 months. They had to hire their old editor-in-chief back because nobody new will come on. It's just trash fire. It showcases everything we've been talking about. They are the perfect example of getting woke and not only going broke, but getting a company broke.
Mm-hmm. Terrible. I love that you're chronicling all that. It's awesome.
Me too, actually.
IDW. Heathen Breathing Fire says Edwin is the Mark Twain of Comicsgate. Liam Gray says, can I buy ad space on Indicron? #hustle. I guess, Edwin, that's not going to be for sale right now.
Yeah. Anything that even approximates pay for play right now is completely off the table.
Okay.
I'll let you know if anything changes, but yeah, need to make it fair for everybody.
Right. Just Pele says Comicsgate adjacent equals, so because you are lukewarm and neither hot nor cold, I will spit you out of my mouth. Revelations 3:16. Yeah, that's John 3:16 is more inspiring than that. Brian the Observer says Doug trashed a man that was only protecting consumers. He never spoke to him. Doug owes Jean-Luc and Dr. Wright an apology. Doug nearly killed CG. All right, that kind of talk needs to stop. Doug cannot kill CG. Nobody can. CG is an idea. It's not a group. It's not a mutual friendship. It's none of that. Even if we all hated each other, Comicsgate would still be a thing. So I don't like the idea. I'm hearing people like, Comicsgate is splitting up. We're not a band. We're not a club. we can't split up. It's just not going to happen. Perkindo says the only comics I want to buy are Comicsgate comics. I just want a clear and easy way to determine if an artist is or is not CG. Right now, I haven't seen them in a stream with EVS. They don't get my money. Well, that's okay. That's not the best way to do it, but you can bet your bottom dollar if they're in a stream with me, they're Comicsgate. So,
can I say one thing for you?
Yeah. There
are so many projects now, and so many people putting out comic books for CG. It is impossible. It is impossible for Ethan to promote them all. And everybody should plan to stand on their own 2 feet. If Ethan has the time to help you, that is fantastic. That is fantastic. But planning on getting onto Ethan's stream is not a business plan. It's not a plan at all. It's a bonus. If it happens, it's a bonus. You still have to do the hard work. Even if you get on Ethan's stream, you still have to be personable, and you're still responsible for giving an entertaining pitch for your book. Don't plan on things you can't control. That's not a plan at all. That's a dream. That's a dream. Plan to stand on your own 2 feet. Don't expect Ethan to be able to platform everybody. It's simply not possible. He wouldn't be able to do anything else. He wouldn't be able to draw CYBERFROGs. I want you to draw CYBERFROGs.
Yeah, the thing about my show also is that it doesn't exist to promote other Comicsgate campaigns. Really, what it does is it exists to entertain people. Mm-hmm. So, I bring on people that I know are good at this. Like Edwin's been on this show. He's a good talker. Tug is an amazing communicator, somebody with a vast wealth of knowledge and good ideas. So, Tug is on the show for that reason alone, not because Tug has something to promote, but because he makes my show better. So, a lot of these guys who have Indiegogo campaigns and want to be on the show need to be interesting. To be on Comic Artist Pro Secrets.
That's a solid point. That's actually a very solid point. A lot of times you'll have people that have never picked up a mic before or anything, to get comfortable on a mic. I mean, some people are naturals, but for getting comfortable on the mic, for me, it took a little while. I had to figure out exactly what I wanted to do, how I want to sound, how I want to present myself. And a lot of the folks there, they suffer from dead air or so many other issues. And work on the mic skills and everything else. And while you're doing it, build your own audience. Hey.
Yeah, dude, build your own audience. Learn to give them another product. Like, here's the thing. Like, I create products other than CYBERFROG. I make these videos and they're free. So, this is the entertainment that you get for being a part of, Comic Artist Pro Secrets, for being a subscriber here. You'll get daily content. I'm going to make a video about something every single day. I'm going to do a live stream or make a video. And that's all free to you. I appreciate the tips. These super chats are magnificent. These buy groceries, believe it. But you don't have to. It's just all free entertainment. And so that entertainment doesn't exist solely to sell other people's books. That does happen sometimes. But mostly what I'm interested in doing is putting on a fun show for people to listen to. And if you can do that and have a good looking comic book, you're going to succeed in Comicsgate on my show. I think that needs to be understood. But you know what? I have people on there just like, can you promote me? And then they come on here, Tug, and they just sit here. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Pick up a slot and don't say anything, and they're not funny. And I have to sit there and drag them along, and they don't really, and then I feel bad because they don't really sell any books because nobody cared because they weren't making themselves interesting.
They have to be, people have to feel invested in you somehow. That's one of the beautiful things about certain people like Cecil. My God, Cecil could be entertaining doing anything. He's found the way that he knows how to do it. If other people would just figure out what they want to do and what they're trying to sell, man. And if they can't, well, then get somebody who can. That's another thing.
Look at Brian Polito over there at Coffin Comics, formerly Chaos. That guy knows how to sell stuff. That guy, first of all, here's what he does. And this is something to think about. That guy engages with his audience and you feel like he knows you. And he does that by calling you all, because he does horror comics. So he calls you all like his ghouls or his coffin maniacs or whatever it is that he has a name for his fans, and he gets you directly involved with him, and he speaks straight to you. He's funny. He's engaging. He talks fast like an auctioneer, and he's got all this great looking product for you to buy. And it all involves half naked women with skulls all over him. The guy is good. He's going to be a millionaire if he isn't already. I mean, obviously this is what sells comics. People buy product. They're buying him. They're buying his product. That's how to do it. I mean, just doing a nice book is good, and you're going to make some money and get some attention, but you also need to become an engaging personality that people are attracted to. And that's your job. Nobody can do that for you. You have to work them out.
I think people, if they learn, like with a mic, if they can learn how to talk about nothing for about 5 minutes and see if people will actually listen. If you can talk about nothing, just ramble for 5 minutes and people, give a care, they actually engage it, then you're set. You figured it out. It took me a little while to figure that out, but hey,
Howard, you're really good at it, Tug. Like, I listen to your live streams and you are man, you've gotten good.
My wife says, man, you know, actually what's really bad is when I go to sleep now, apparently I will live stream some of my sleep.
That's fantastic. Well, hey
Yeah.
man, you should sleep with a recorder by the bed, then wake up and upload that bad Johnson.
Oh, God, no telling what. No telling what weird controversy we're addressing.
I always look at Geeks and Gamers. Like Jeremy does a video no matter what he's doing all day, and I always feel guilty about that. Like I'm like, I'm going to ShopRite. I should really be making a video about me going to ShopRite, because that's what he would do. He would find something to talk about along the way, and that's interesting. It lets people in. Again, it's more of letting people in to your life and getting them involved, and they get to come up with memes and make fun of you. And
Exactly.
you know, it's I need to make more videos. I need to be more ballsy like that, but I don't know.
People know I hate the word like SJWs. You know, they'll type out certain words. Like I've noticed SJWs have co-opted the word y'all, and I hate seeing that in written form. So you know, I'm actually saying this. I'll probably get 1 million y'alls in there, but I hate seeing that in written form now. It just bothers me.
I almost wrote y'all today on one of my tweets, and I backed it up because I heard you say that. I've heard you say that before. And I went, oh shit, like I sound like an SJW, and I backed it up and wrote you all instead or something. It's like, yeah, like I'm fully aware now of you know, SJWisms.
Well, you notice all the weird things that they type, you know, K, I've noticed that pop up a million. Yeah, here come the y'alls.
Yeah. Everybody's gonna write y'all now.
Yeah.
We're taking it back. We're taking y'all back. We're taking it back.
No.
Pencil for Life says Doug needs to be on the show. Stand with Doug. Well, I'll have you know, I had a nice long conversation with Doug 2 nights ago, and I told Doug that he just needs a break, and I think he agreed with me, but who knows? Doug needs a little bit of a break. But one thing Doug also needs to understand is that, you know, he made a lot of fans here, and he you know, a lot of customers are Comicsgate, and they expect him to still be Doug and to still be here giving them videos and giving them content in exchange for Bigfoot Bill #2. Which I'm sure he's planning on doing at the end of the year. So I would give Doug a break for a little while. When Doug's ready to come back, Doug will be coming back, and we'll have a conversation at that time, and we'll make sure everything's okay. So don't worry if you're a fan. Michael Lynch says, Ethan, get Doug, Brad, and Jean-Luc on a stream. Doug, Brad, and Jean-Luc. All right, well, I'll think about it. Passion for Drawing says, what happens if you declare Comicsgate? I had to check that list and go, wait, where's the conflict here? What happens if you declare Comicsgate then because you don't get your way and quit publicly? What then? I don't know. You know,
You can leave. I mean, hey, you don't have to be like Via said. It's not a band. We're not breaking up. If someone decides to part ways, they're parting ways from personalities and on. I mean, we have personality conflicts. Sheesh.
Yeah.
There's certain people I don't like talking about who I don't like. There's certain people I don't like though, and that's just going to be that way. They're great people though, you know. So hey, if you decide that you just don't want to be around certain people, you're not leaving the consumer. I think that's the ugliest thing in the I'm leaving Comicsgate. When people make that declaration, they make it out of anger, and they're not thinking about what they say normally.
No, they're thinking about us. Usually they're thinking about like their peers and not the customers. It's like, you know, I'm like, all of you can decide that you hate me tomorrow. I mean, like Yellow Flash, you, Edwin, you guys can decide. I'm still Comicsgate because Comicsgate to me is everyone in the chat and all the people who back CYBERFROG. You know, that's my obligation, you know, to those guys. They come first, my customers, and it would be sad, and I would try to fix things, but no, you know, you don't have to. I don't know. You don't have to behave that way. It doesn't make any sense to me. Matt, I'm sorry.
I think a lot of people don't value loyalty either. I think that's one thing. Like for yourself, you know, you value loyalty. I think that's a thing that a lot of people don't realize about an EVS. You're talking about people that come on and you try to help. If people are down too, you try to do everything for that group. Loyalty is valued, and
loyalty is my friendships. Yeah, absolutely. You know, like I said, I mean, Tug, it's ride or die. You know, with you. You know, I have friends in Comicsgate. Some of the war campaign guys I've gotten to know very well. I like them a lot, and yeah, it's ride or die. Edwin, ride or die. All of these guys, as long as you're loyal to me, I'm loyal to you. you know, and that's the way it is. Loyalty is what it's all about, man. It's a currency that's invaluable. If you know that you can trust someone, you know, if you've got that mutual trust, that loyalty, that is worth more than gold. That's a real friend, you know. So it needs to be repaid in kind. And I think people who betray trust and loyalty are lowlifes. And I can't even, let me try to find a better word. Effing lowlifes. I mean,
There you go. They're scum. I think it's scum. I think it really is. You know, and it's I know people get mad. They say things to their friends every now and then to vent and on, but there are some people that are very awful. I've tried to purge them out of my out of my circle. I just keep around the people that I can trust. It took me a little while to learn that too. I mean, hey, I think Comicsgate, every now and then, I think we've made a couple of mistakes. I'll own that, and you know, we get better. I think we get better. I think we have a good core now, and we try to help out new people. And anyway,
yeah, they're funny in the chat. They're killing me.
That's actually why I love having live streams. The chat actually makes everything great.
Yeah, I'll turn and look at them, and they just crack me up. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, should I be laughing? Is somebody saying something sad? Yeah, that's the hard thing. But everyone is so funny in the chat. They're just absolutely hilarious. All right, so let's see. Oh, yeah. What do you think of all this, Edwin?
Well, I've got to go in a second. I've been up for about 48 hours with all the work I've been doing. Just wanted to thank two people. I wanted to thank Pixel. I want to thank you. I appreciate you having me on. It's always fun to spend time with you. And all the time that you all your time that you use for other people. I appreciate that, and for being a great entertainer. Because that's where it's at. People need to be able to have fun. I wanted to thank Pixel Trader for all the good work that he's done on Indiegogo, and you know, just for his passion and for his love. And I wanted to thank Roka Beer for adding more. Roka Beer Kumar. Make sure to follow him on YouTube and Twitter. He is building an additional website, paying for that out of his pocket. And then a lot of the members of the community are going to help him with that. But make sure you follow that for cgonly.com, hellcgonly.com.
Hell, that's awesome. I'm adding moderators left and right. Edwin, thanks for everything that you do. You are vital to this group, this family. These people all love you, and you know, everyone in this chat loves you. So you know,
they're great people, man. I mean, Comicsgate, people fight, but they're great people. They're great people, and just remember the stuff that you love. Remember the stuff you love. But I better go, brother. Thank you for having me on. Aloha.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate your time, Edwin, and we'll talk again soon. All right, so let's get back to this. Tug, are you able to stay, or do you need to run? Because I'm reading super chats.
No, I'm good, man. I'm hanging. It's good.
All right, so Matt Villar says, can we just set up a list of principles that people either agree with on the site or not on the site? No one making the call for anyone else. Yeah, that would be nice. Like if Indicron actually explains what Comicsgate is and what it means. And John Chedester says the same thing. What is the Comicsgate Manifesto? Yeah, it would be nice to write one just so that, again, people know what the consumer movement means. And it could be written by pros and customers, because both are equally important and need to agree about this. You know, it's an important relationship. Muerte Enunciata, thanks for $20, says Comicsgate is a set of values like freedom of speech. If someone says they are not Comicsgate, they owe it to the consumer to explain what issue they have with the philosophy. Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely. Especially if they're selling something. I mean, that's the main thing.
That's a problem with those words like adjacent. I hate that. It really sticks there. It says something's wrong with those consumers. I mean, it sends a message. It sends a terrible message.
You know what it means to me? It kind of means, it suggests that, yeah, you're down with you know, the customer service stuff, but you're not down with the no politics stuff. You know,
I take it as you're down with my money, but you don't have the stones to actually stand up in the Comicsgate. That's how I take it. I mean, I think, you know, that wording there. Now, I know there are people that don't want to adhere to it. They want to, they look at it differently. And if you go out, I mean, there are certain people I've been involved with that I like them. I just, like right now, I need to know that people are going to be professional and they need to offer a good product. And that label there, I want to prioritize the people who take lumps, man. You know, I mean, you guys taking a beating. I want to prioritize that and support it.
Yeah. Matthew Godwin says, how do I get a signed copy of Blood Honey? Well, there's a link in the description. If you guys don't know, CyberFrog Blood Honey is in its first week of its third run of funding. Now, CyberFrog Blood Honey ran all through the summer, and then it closed down. And people said, well, how do I get CyberFrog Blood Honey? It's closed. And I said, well, I'm going to open it for 1 week. And that was in September. And I opened it for 1 week in September, and it made $90,000 in a week. And I closed it down, like I said I would. And then people, this channel has grown so much, and Comicsgate has grown so much since September. And as CyberFrog finally gets ready to go to print, people said, how is it fair? I'm a new fan. I just discovered you. How do I get CyberFrog? And so I decided to open it up one last time. Due to overwhelming demand, CyberFrog Blood Honey, the third cover. This is going to be, it looks like it's going to be a paper cover with a spine. This one is not going to be chromium. People wanted a spine on one, and I think that makes good sense. It lets the people who backed the first two campaigns have something unique and special. This one's just going to be like a regular paper cover, still incredibly high quality. They will all be autographed. Everything will be signed. I'm going to spend a week and a half doing nothing but signing comic books at the fulfillment center. And it's right here. So the link is in the description below. This is going to be your last chance to back CyberFrog Blood Honey. What I would like this campaign to do is do great business for the next 6 weeks. Share this campaign. Let people know about it, because it's possible. Right now, CyberFrog Blood Honey has sold $750,000 worth of copies. It's conceivable in the next 6 weeks that CyberFrog hit $1 million total. It's conceivable. So if you want to help that along, there are a lot of tiers to choose from. This is for $25 plus shipping. You will get the variant cover comic plus the perks associated with that, which are, I think, a bookmark, 2 trading cards, and a window cling sticker. You will get all of those. The comic book will be signed right over here. By the way, this estimated delivery, July 2019, that is correct. I've just had that confirmed. That is when the book will be in your hands. It's going to press at the end of April, and they're telling me that they can get it back in June, and then everybody will have it in their hands. They'll complete fulfillment by July. So before July, by July, you're going to have your CyberFrogs, and that is a guarantee now. $50 team up variant plus ash can. You're going to get the book, and you're going to get a bonus ash can called 1998 with an extra CyberFrog story in it. And then another bonus ash can on top of that, a reprint of Amphibionics #1 as a color ash can. Both ash cans, they're mini comic books. They're mini comic books. Both ash cans are going to be available here. They're going to be in color. Estimated delivery also July 2019. $200, you're going to get 10 copies of the book, all signed. That's for retailers or just people who are like, I'm no dummy. I'm going to buy a bunch of these and sell them on eBay. You can get 200 of them. That's $50 off the price, plus a cheaper shipping cost for $200. Bulk team up variant. They will come July 2019. $1,000 is the original art. You're going to get a book, and you are going to be in line. You're going to get a page of the original art. So 16 out of 25 of those pages are claimed. You're going to get, more or less, you're going to get your choice in the order that you come. So, there are going to be a bunch of people ahead of you if you're number 17, but you are going to get a choice of a page from what's left. And you're also going to get a book, and I don't know what else comes with that. All the perks. This is the big one here. I just added this, the fist bump cover art for one big backer who wants to support CyberFrog Blood Honey. This famous cover art, the fist bump piece, is going to be yours. You're also going to get copies of the book and everything else. But yeah, for anybody who wants to own this historic piece of original art, which I hesitate to even sell because it's so beautiful, that is the one big, and there's only one of them, one big perk for one benevolent backer who wants to help us towards our goal. Yeah, that's there now. I just put that up this morning, by the way. There are going to be more tiers at the beginning of April. There's going to be a new tier that's going to surprise everyone. It's going to be a pretty big surprise. And there'll actually be, I think, 3 tiers brand new tiers. I'll tell you all about it, Umbrella Guy. You're gonna be like, what? And I'm gonna be like, yep. It's gonna be cool.
I'm gonna have a lot of CyberFrog copies coming to my house, man. I've been supporting all these. It's gonna be awesome. I actually I don't know. I like that you've put out multiple like different covers and whatnot. I actually like how this is shaped up. You know, there were people who complained at first. I thought, man, you had time to get everything. If things didn't go the way they went, you would have such a big audience that would have missed out on CyberFrog. So
yeah, it didn't make any sense. And again, my wife and I were just like, why are we not selling anywhere? Everybody's asking for it. We need to sell more CyberFrogs. And so, we opened it up again. And then obviously the SJWs are crying about it. Like you wouldn't believe. They're just crying. They're like, yeah, I know. Another $90,000. It's that easy. It's that easy for Comicsgate. It's that easy for me. And you guys can keep crying about it. Your comics barely get funded. Comicsgate projects and my projects get overfunded, and I don't know all I can do is shrug emoji, Umbrella Guy. We have the best fans, the best customers in the world. Maybe you guys shouldn't have called them all Nazis. Did you think of that?
There you go, man. I mean, when I look at the money going away from the industry, and they're like, where did it go? I see it. It's right there. It's right there. There's a slice of it.
Comics Matter. Your boy Zach's in the chat. He goes, you made enough money, Ethan. Yeah, that's what they say. You made enough. Haven't you made enough money? No, absolutely not. God. So
why would they think there's just enough? Oh, you don't need any more? Yeah, you definitely. I mean, what's wrong with capitalism? I think. I think when you started hiring socialists and quote unquote anarchists, I mean, when you hire those people, yeah, they definitely lost the plot.
Yeah, they again, they say weird things too. They're like, and they try to upset people, but they don't understand. Comic skaters really aren't socialists. They were saying they're like, all of the money is going to Ethan. All of it. All of the money of Comicsgate is going to Ethan. It's like, yeah, and I guess all of the money in the music biz went to Elvis too. You know what I mean? It's like there are other people who make money. There isn't just a limited amount of money out there. Not everybody is buying my book, and my book isn't the only book that they're buying. Manifestly, other comic skaters are getting their books funded as well. So F these people. But yeah, in any case, I am thrilled. I'm thrilled with the support. Obviously, I'm thrilled that all of you are backing this comic. We're at $90,566, and thank you. If you want to back the book, the link is in the description right below the chat. Okay, so let's get back to super chats, Tug, and get back to this here. So that's how you get a signed copy of Bloodhoney, Matthew Godwin. Michael Rodriguez says, what does your boy Zach think of Indiecron publishing advertising CJ? Sorry if I'm misunderstanding what's happening. I'm a little out of the loop. But you can ask him. I'm not really sure. I think he would go, I don't know, yeah. Or, Zach doesn't really get involved in all that stuff. He's got his own channel, and that's what he's concerned about. Everett Todd says, vote for Edwin Boyette for mayor of comics. Black Russian Bot says, hail Caesar, hail War Campaign. Liam Gray says, Vic agreed to do the voice acting on my trailer before all this drama happened. He's a really nice dude. Lord Dankington says, I just got my CyberFrog Mini. It's going to look great. Oh, you're painting it? Nice. Kale Roberts says, I can attest to going through Edwin for help with Guardians of Erloth. Edwin is a good man. Some degree of Sundown says, I've decided to back CyberFrog Bloodhoney even though I'm not a comics fan. I just hate SJWs. Well, that's a good start, but I think we'll get you to be a comic fan. He says, I wish I'd supported Zach. I'm also supporting Owen Benjamin. Good. Yeah, Zach's going to have another campaign up soon, so you'll get a chance to back his new comic. GR People says, Peter has an Indiegogo up to help expand Alterna. It's a great jumping point for those who have been eyeing. Nasser Rabadi says, listening on lunch. Hail Caesar. Hail Nasser Rabadi. GR People says, Sketch only just got the internet back. He's been sending all his missed money to you. All right, I'm glad to have Sketch Therapy back. We missed him. Carlo Rose says, Comicsgate is not about shared friends, but shared enemies. Wow, what do you think of that?
Huh. I guess that's kind of true. It is. You can make friends though after that. I mean, but yeah, I mean, we all got into that because of that SJW incursion. I guess they're right in a lot of ways.
Yeah. All should set a shining example, whether you want to label yourself or not. Love you, Tug and Edwin. David Allen says, a lot of beauty has been sown with this stream. Thanks. Jay Hamilton says there are no half measures when it comes to saying you're Comicsgate. Disagreements within Comicsgate are fine so long as you're still working off the basic tenets of Comicsgate. Jay, I 100% agree with that. All at a Bubblegum says, hail Uncle Caesar, Tug, and Edwin, the gentleman's gentleman of Comicsgate. We missed you on the High Council last night, Ethan. I'm glad you survived your pie overdose. Long live the fighters. Yeah, I fell asleep. It was Ava's birthday, and at 8 o'clock, I said, I'm not making it, guys. You got to replace me tonight. Sorry about that. I'll be back next week. Stripper named Trixie says, coming to Indiegogo April 1st. Angelic stripper with a heart of gold, fighting horned demons with her bare hands, slaying left and right. Get ready to open your wallets and get your Trixie ash can. Nice. Conspiracy and Comics says, A Song of Mice and Furs live on Indiegogo. 136 pages, all epic fantasy comic. Redwell meets Discworld, wholesome anti-commie fun. So go look at A Song of Mice and Fur. Blackout says, since you told us to send you your drawings of CYBERFROG, did you get the chance to see the comic I did of you and CYBERFROG? Stay awesome. No, I don't remember it, Blackout. Send it again. Slick Jimmy Speaks says, I support people of good intent and behavior. I rarely get in drama, but I believe Doug has good intentions. Corrosive and hateful behavior is obviously anathema to peace. Be good to one another. One love. Comic Connoisseur 69 says, hello, Ethan, truck driver from Kentucky, headed to Oklahoma City, listening to the show. Keep up the good work. Hail Caesar. That is a guy living the life that I want to live. I'd be a truck driver. Tug.
Did Zach ask to come in? People are tagging and saying, hey, Zach wants in.
Oh, Zach wants in? Yeah. I'll let him in. Hang on a second. Yeah, I'm not letting too many people into this one, but Zach obviously can come in whenever he wants. Let me see here. Am I sharing? I'm not sharing. Okay, good. Yeah, I got to be careful when I'm sharing because I showed my address for a second. Just by accident, you know.
Yeah, these people will take it. I mean, it's crazy, like how these people just, pry through every little second. So it's like, oh my God, look what Ethan just showed. Let's destroy him. So yeah, you gotta be careful.
Yeah, okay. All right. Zach just sent me a message. Yeah, Zach, come on in. I sent it on Facebook. Close and back to work here. Okay. Gimp Rider says, glad I found you guys. Gonna have to start reading comics again. Happy birthday to me. 67. When I bought comics, they were 10 cents. Do you still have any? I mean, my God. DeVuz General, happy birthday to you, by the way. DeVuz General, Isaiah 5:20 is perfect for this culture war. Endure. TK says, EVS, we love you, bro. Tug and Edwin also. Your content is a voice that inspires fans of comics, film, and anime. You stir the spirit of true fans. Thank you. Thank you, TK. Sometimes Pop says, for each host, what are your greatest and weakest traits? Tug, what's your greatest and weakest trait?
Oh, my weakest trait? I don't know. Sometimes I think we can all be egotistical a little bit. I think I can get angry. I have a lot of trouble maintaining a level composition in this fight because I definitely want to lose my temper a lot. So, I mean, it's a try at that. I think one of the greatest traits there though is I don't know if it's a trait. One of the things I'm proudest of is that I feel like I'm a good father. So I'm actually very proud of that.
You are a good dad. I've heard you be a good dad. Yeah. My greatest trait is that I'm clever. My worst trait is that I'm stupid. And those are two sincere things. I think I'm very crafty. I'm very clever, but I'm not very smart. And that's the thing. I'm always aware. Sometimes I'm talking to Tug. I'm like, I'm kind of dumb. No,
I think you're smarter than you give yourself credit for, man, for sure.
Just clever. Clever. It's different.
I don't know.
Your boy Zach.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, did you hear about McDonald's?
No.
They shut down. They made enough money. They paid off all their the land, the construction workers. They paid it off and they're done. That took them 60 years, but they finally paid off everything, so they're shutting down all locations everywhere.
Well, people are only supposed to take what they need, right? I mean, that's that's what earning money is all about.
I guess we're doing Smurf Village rules for capitalism now. Don't take more than your fair share of crab apples there, Ethan.
I love it. Well, I am. this is my fair share.
Absolutely. Yeah, this whole thing, like, I mean, first of all, it's just a grab bag of anything to destroy you with, but they're saying the thing that makes no sense to the average person. Like, you're not supposed to sell a book that people want.
Right.
Is that to own the libs? What is one of their phrases? People want this. I wanted this.
Yeah.
I've got a buddy who missed the first one. I'm going to give him my first version with the original cover, and I'm going to keep the DAP cover because I saw that image and I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done it if I wasn't hearing about this all the time, and my excuses were starting to sound lame, and there were a couple of customers that were really sounding pissed off at me about it.
Yeah, they want a book. Like, the idea of I want something and I can't have it, that doesn't, it's not real. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I can't sell that to you because I sold it to other people. What?
Yeah. Well, there's a little bit of that. I mean, look, that original chromium cover and then the second chromium cover, can't get them anymore. But if you want to read the book, there's no reason why you shouldn't be allowed to buy and read the comic book. And that's why there's a third cover that's different. And this cover is going to be, because I'm leaving it open for at least 6 weeks. This is going to be the most common cover, I would think. And, that's fine. That lets everybody who backed early have something special and still allows all customers and all these new fans that are pouring into Comicsgate to be a part of this historic campaign. And you find yourself in a unique position similar to mine because Jawbreakers is already funded and done and fulfilled. And now there are people who still want a copy of it. I mean, I just read a super chat from somebody.
People are always coming in and out, and people are new. They say, where can I buy it? I go, oh, you missed it, but I'll have another one. And then they get excited. So mine is going to launch April 11th or 12th. Probably be up for about the same amount of time yours is, because God King is coming on the heels of that in probably July or so.
That's going to be enormous. God King is Jawbreakers 2, guys, and I have to tell you, I've seen the pages. Well, I've seen like maybe 6 pages of it. Zach, every now and then when he gets something he likes, he sends it my way. It looks incredible. It looks incredible, and coming off the heels of the extremely successful Jawbreakers. By the way, congratulations on that review from Just Some Guy. I don't know if you watched that yet. I'm sure
I watched it like 2 minutes after he uploaded it, and it was actually kind of a big deal because he's a very good reviewer. He's very smart, entertaining, but it kind of it reminded me of some stuff, and I talked about it in the video this morning. They want to destroy us, but they don't care about their own comics. Like, I'm going to go to get some old comics today. I can't read the new ones anymore. These people absolutely do not care about their own comics. I think they're angry at us because we like our stuff. It's like this weird thing. It's like, you're really causing a problem. Everyone else doesn't care about their comics, and you're over there loving them. We got to take you out, any means necessary.
Man, I totally agree with that. I don't, all of their comics are done out of spite and kind of with an arrogant kind of irony. They're not really enjoying these superheroes. They're not enjoying their characters. They're not even really enjoying their own creator-owned stuff anymore. It really is about how can I get
totally bored.
Yeah,
I just reviewed this Saladin Ahmed. They rebooted Ms. Marvel for the 3rd time. Do you remember back in the 80s where Marvel, even when the sales started going down, it would still get like 2 more years.
Mm-hmm.
And usually those last 2 years were pretty trash. It read like the last 2 years of a series that had run its course. Like, it is, I compared it to walking the dog. I like Luna, but I don't like walking her. It's a chore. It's boring.
Yeah.
It's just something I have to do. And that's how they treat it. I go, it's got to be embarrassing for them every day to see the sales is embarrassing, but also liking your own stuff. That's verboten. That's just weird to them.
Yeah, I know. Well, they denigrate CYBERFROG all the time. First of all, they pretend that they don't know that it's called CYBERFROG. They'll call Robo-Toad.
They always, this is a trope. Like I said, at least commit to the bit that you're a stalker. You know what I mean? And I don't remember if it's a colon or a dash between CYBERFROG and BLOODHONEY, but they do. They've got this stuff tattooed on the inside of their skull.
Yeah.
Like, stop doing this little, and it's all junior high. It's like his no, what was it? Not Robotoad. What was the thing from the 90s?
Oh, Battletoads.
Battletoad.
Yeah.
One of the things I always like is they compare it to something popular, and they go, it's just like that popular thing. I go, yeah, exactly. I like when people denigrate the 90s. I was like, yeah, you mean the places where a inker would make $300,000? Yes, I definitely want things to go back to the 90s.
Yeah. Me too, pal. I was there. And I'll tell you something. The mood in the 90s was much better. The spirit.
But you got the tail end. You didn't get like the juicy part of the 90s, right?
I missed the first 3 years, Zach.
Yeah.
I was there from then on, and I caught the down. You know, I compare the comic book industry to Boogie Nights. I hope you watched that movie. The 90s. You know, the 90s were the 1970s in the porno industry, where it was like, wow, we've discovered something brand new. The money is pouring in. We're spending it stupidly. We're partying. We're having a great time. And there are all these stars, all these celebrities. And then the second half of Boogie Nights is watching everyone's life collapse. And a few people are able to deal with the changes. And the changes are pornography coming to VHS instead of in movie theaters. Like, who wouldn't have seen that as the right idea? I mean, that's what we're doing here. It's like we're kind of realizing people don't want to go to comic shops anymore. We need to actually ship comics straight to them. That is the future. Crowdfunding, just to measure how in demand your comics are. That is the future. Pre-orders in that sense. That clearly is the future. Now, either you can get on board with us, or you can end up like some of the characters from Boogie Nights. You know.
Well, the other one is success and failure is always just how you frame it. The first hour of Scarface is so happy and positive, it's almost a musical. It's nothing but good things happening for him. He's going up, he's meeting girls, his career, he gets out of the internment center. Man, you could do a musical the first hour of Scarface.
Oh yeah.
And then it gets all dark at the end. Yeah, so it's just like some things I understand, like they hate us and they just want to insult us and denigrate us. But at some point, when you have the thought in your head and you say, he's just trying to make more money, he made too much, and you just go, what is that? What is the proper amount? $2,000? Paying everyone barely anything, no bonuses?
The pie charts, remember with the
pie chart. I guarantee you I will be poor at the end of this. So will everyone. Or what is the other guy? He stiffed his artist. And still waiting 2 years later.
Yeah.
Even when SJWs put their book out, they don't pay the people.
Yeah. Look at White. Let's check in on White right now. I just feel like doing that. I'm inspired.
So
White.
This White thing is crazy. They're tracking to make slightly more than half of their previous book.
I love it. Sorry, go ahead.
This guy's media connections are insane. Kwanzaa is connected to the media like almost no one in the history of comics. You go to Google, you will find 5 pages of individual website articles, interviews with him. It's not cut and paste. It's a different interview for every single entity out there.
Yeah.
He's making half of what he made the last time because he doesn't care. He has no interest in his own characters, and it's just stupid. It's just stupid. Like, he doesn't like it. It's a complete fraud, and it's embarrassing.
Yeah, it really is. And this is pretty much the best that they can do. This is a big campaign for them. I mean, this is
huge,
this is successful. $33,178 with 11 days to go of a $40,000 goal. And you look at it and you go, that's respectable to ask for. What's with the $39,999? Did anybody ask that?
Somebody's been watching too much Price is Right.
It's like, dude, it's okay. You could put the 40. What if you get to 39? See, he was afraid he wouldn't get to 40, but you get to $39,999. That's a joke God plays on you, and then you don't get funded. But no, he anticipated that joke from God. But what kills me about this is this right down here. He's like, wait, no, that's not it. Where is it? Timeline. Oh, here it is. This is all the money.
Always do this.
Where's profit? Where is it? Production, shipping and fulfillment, printing, fee and taxes. By the way, 17% fees and taxes. Don't you live in New York? What are you, nuts?
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, that's going to be more like this. Okay, so you should have been prepared for that. Production's 32%, shipping and fulfillment 30%, printing 21%, fees and taxes. This is going to smack them upside the head. They don't even realize it yet. But my God, there's no profit here. There's no profit happening. There's no fun. There's no success. There's no glory.
It's a complete insanity, and it's like, you know, I'm actually parked right now next to a empty, closed down comic book store. It was a fantastic store, and it is gone. And you and me are not in stores right now, but I mentioned this in video. 2020, I'm shooting to get into stores in some way, shape, or form because they need some books that people actually want. And the other thing that I consider encouraging is I talk to people who they went to a big con in a very liberal city. Nobody's heard about any of these controversies. They just like superheroes.
Yeah, of course.
You get a well-drawn superhero, you get a well-drawn... Do you consider CYBERFROG a superhero?
Yeah.
I consider him a monster.
He's not a monster. He would...
Jawbreakers would shoot him on site and not even ask questions.
Well, it's what's in his heart, Zach. He's a hero. He might look like a monster, but he's a hero. He does good.
Well, this actually reminds me of one time me and Zaxxon were watching E.T., and we were talking about what would you do if you saw E.T. in real life? E.T. would be horrifying. People would run and scream, and if they had a weapon, they would shoot him immediately. No one would try to find out what was in his heart. His heart could be glowing. You just aim for the glowing heart.
Well, that's part of what the book's about. You know, I mean, the book is about being prejudged for the way that you look when, you know, your goal, your mission is still, despite being hated, to do the right thing. And that's what
speaking of judging by looks, that page you posted a couple of days ago with the main character.
With Heather?
Yeah, that was exquisite. That's the best stuff I've ever seen you draw.
Well, like I said, I'm enjoying myself. Like you said, we're having fun. We actually like our books. We like our characters. And, you know, Heather Swain's a real person to me, and CYBERFROG is a real person to me, and so is Salamandroid. And the world that they live in, I want to make real. It's the goal of this book. These people don't understand. At this point, they're like, why aren't you putting your book out fast? Well, there's no shortage of shit in comic book stores. I can put out as much garbage as you can if you want, SJWs, but I'm trying to actually produce a book that people care about and are glad that they bought and want to read again.
I just came out of another comic book store, a not closed down one, but I've never seen a more depressed owner manager ever. And I bought 4 books, and only one of them was bought non-sarcastically. It's a Chip Zdarsky Spider-Man. It's cool. It's Spider-Man as if time was... So it's Spider-Man in Vietnam. He's like 22 or something like that.
Yeah.
There's nothing out there. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there, but there's nothing to buy non-sarcastically. It's just... And the other thing that they've done is they've kind of calmed down on the cringe, but they've gone really super mediocre. Like they're just trying to get base hits. It's like that little circle. Hey, we're just trying to keep the lights on type of thing. Like there's nothing to be excited about. I'm excited about CYBERFROG. I'm excited about God King. I'm excited about Red Rooster. I saw pages of that on the Indiegogo, and those are looking really good.
Damn, dude, I know. Mitch is great.
Yeah.
He's great. I mean, it's important that we don't insult this audience. Everybody's got to be turning in their best. And
and you take your time. The thing about this is all those things, you know, they always bring this up. There was a delay in the original Watchmen. There was a delay in the original Dark Knight Returns. Doomsday Clock, I don't think it's going to be a classic, but it's had a lot of delays. In 5 years, nobody's going to remember the delays. And the people who are asking for it, demanding it, number one, they did not buy it, and all they're going to do, and I predicted this with Jawbreakers, 100%. I said they're going to flip through to find one hand they find is not drawn correctly, and then they will obsess about it for a month. And that's what happened. Like, these people are as predictable as a computer program.
Mm-hmm. And they'll never stop. I mean, they're
and
not.
Your book is the worst thing that has ever been made.
Yeah, yeah. My book is going to be the best book of 2019, and I say that unreservedly. It's going to be the best book of 2019. I see what's out there. I see what they're doing. None of it has a soul. None of it has spirit anymore. People are tired. Comics are dying. The comic industry is dying. CYBERFROG is a rebellion against that. I think CYBERFROG is a light. I think it's a spark, and I think it's going to lead to a roaring fire. Zach, you know some stuff.
You took that speech from The Last Jedi. That was Poe Dameron. You just changed the words around a little bit.
How many times have I seen The Last Jedi? Yeah, that's in my head. But yeah, that's what we have to do, man. We have to, things are dark, things are bleak, and we have to do what we can to make people feel good again. So
dude, I'm telling you, I'm getting the pages. I got the Jawbreaker's God King. It's kind of similar as the last book. It has a 50-page main story and then 2 backups. The Devil Dog Origin is 100% done. Cosmic, which is Michael Bennett, he's the one who redid my stuff. He's doing like them in space. He's like this really interesting, like, genius guy. So I just let him just do whatever. But then the main story is, I think it's like 25 pages drawn, and it's already being colored. And it's also going to be written a little bit different because I listened to the feedback. You just mentioned that 2019 CYBERFROG is going to be the best book of the year. I love that, but I'm trying to make one better than you. It's just like, do you remember back in the days where Whilce Portacio was in the same studio with Jim Lee? Mm-hmm. And you would see Whilce Portacio level up, and then you would see Jim just go, I'm taking that hatching, I'm going to take that. The way you do the shoulders, I'm going to take that. And you would see them battle. And even in interviews, you would say, hey, this is my friend, but every day I'm trying to outdo him. That's how you get better. No one's trying to outdo. They're actually, the nail that sticks up gets hammered down. So people are being mediocre on purpose. There are good writers who are writing less well than they can. Artists who are, hampering themselves because then it's like, oh, you think you're better than me type of thing. And I'm trying to race you. But yeah, I get these pages and every single one, it's just, I miss the in-between time when I'm not making a book. My goal is to figure out how logistically I can always be making something. And stuff can be coming out, I don't know, every 3 months, maybe. Mm-hmm. Maybe get it every 2 months. The logistics of monthly are not that good. And also, these are graphic novels. All my stuff's going to be 100 pages minimum.
100 pages now.
Yeah. So 100 to 120. I found people don't really notice the difference between 100 and 120, but it takes more time. So if I can do 100, and that feels good. I got the John Malin Graveyard Shift. I think that was 80 to 100, somewhere around there, and that it felt the same as Jawbreaker. So God King's going to be 120. Ironsights 2, which is insane, is going to be 80 to 100 pages.
Oh, that's something else. Good. Yeah, I mean, that's something to aspire to. CYBERFROG's accidentally going to kind of come close to that. I didn't mean for it to, but it was just a lot more story.
Ethan, get it out. We don't want your excuses. Just get it out.
Yeah, just make it happen. Right, I got it. These guys. Yeah, just get it, put it out. Oh, it's not finished yet. Well, when is it going to be finished? I'm trying, or how many more pages is there? That's just not how I work. I kind of think in terms of scenes, Yeah. So it's like how many more pages is going to be? I'm not sure. I'm just not sure, but it's got to be done at a certain point. And this is why I've got, editorial now, and I've got a whole staff. It's got to be done at the end of April to make this shipping date. And that's final cutoff. So I'm trying to be happy with it, but if I'm not 100%, it's got to go out by the end of April so we can move on.
Well, I've been backing for, I don't know, 7 or 8 years, mostly Kickstarters back in the day. And the precedent over 8 years is that people don't consider anything really late until it's a year late. 4 to 6 months is considered on time. 6 to 12 months is kind of like, eh. I've backed dozens of, on my Kickstarter, I backed a couple dozen. And over the years, I wouldn't even notice. You would actually see a comment, "Hey, has anyone heard anything?" And it would always be at like the 1 year mark. Nobody notices. It's different rules for different people. You're being pressured by people who hate you and are obsessed with you to put out something that they will never give a fair shake ever. Never for 1 second. So just ignore all of them. Obviously, listen to backers. I think a drop dead time is good. At some point, you do need it taken out of your hands, and that'll crystallize something. And you might have that scene. You go, "Oh, I want this scene." Well, you got that next book, and you can work into that next book or whatever. But I'm really excited about it. I think the end of April and having a professional staff. I've done the same thing. I got a professional editor. I got a professional digital print file guy. We're gonna redo God King, the print file, basically all of it. We're gonna do a reprint next month. So it's going to be truly remastered, but that's a big deal to get to assemble that crew and then start working with them.
Absolutely, this is the way to go. We're moving into the future. We're fixing mistakes that we made and learning how to do this. All right, so I got to read the rest of these super chats, and I got to go. Andrew's like,
yeah, get on the road as well. Thanks for having me on.
Hey Zach, thanks for joining us. Everybody loves hearing from you. I appreciate it.
Bye.
All right, so let me read these. Tug, you still with me?
I am. I was just listening to Zach, actually. I never get to hear him on live streams, man. I was like, dang, and he was on today. He actually no lag in the voice or anything. He was good.
All right, Filet Fish says, I sent you a message on Twitter regarding Marvel using mind control. Please check it out. It's creepy. People should see it. You can bring it to light. Oh, I'd love to do a video about Marvel mind control. Greg Bowen says, they're not taking y'all away from me. Thank you, Greg. Stephen Blair says, anyone know what the classical music in the background of Ethan's Virtue Signal Virtuosos video is? I can find out for you, Stephen. I'll tweet it out. Matt Svalar says, where does Comicsgate stand on Sean Gordon Murphy, even though he's not CG? He represents everything we call on pros to be, professional and non-political. We like him. You don't have to be Comicsgate for us to like you. It's just, you either are Comicsgate or you're not. But Sean Gordon Murphy's good. Diversity and Cecil says, tonight drawn and quartered on Blacklist Universe. I'm hosting and the pros are drawing Cecil. Why? I don't know. Come and watch his dreams come true. Darth Gavel says, we live in a society where free thinkers, open-minded people are called crazy, where ignorant, closed-minded people are called normal. Shamib says, can we get a tier just for the Ash Can for those who got the main book the first time around? That's an idea. Maybe I'll do that. Get Down Demon says, Zach wants in EVS. Send the link, damn it. Sulfur X says, the Comicsgate, no dehumanizing creators or political propagandists. I'll pass. Comics fans here beyond the gate support and uplift one another. Leonard Tube says, just want to pop in and thank you for putting my goofy face in CyberFrog. Lost Leonor. Oh, cool. I hope you enjoyed that. Yeah, I thought your picture was pretty good. Neo Mix says, might you come to a UK Comic-Con to promote CyberFrog and Rainbow Brood at one point? It'd be awesome to meet you. Neo Mix, I'd like to. I'm kind of staying away from conventions because A, we don't really make money there, and B, people want to beat me up. So, it's not really safe for me to go out. And if I do, I need bodyguards. Zebulon Pike says, I've been thousands of miles away from friends and family for 5 years, and Comicsgate Fandom Menace has filled the void during my exile. I thank you all. Thank you, Zebulon. I'm glad that you're with us. Really, really love you guys. Sulfur X says, Zach never stops improving as a person or a creator. That's absolutely true. Kevin Splady says, I can see the SJWs now. Ethan compares Comicsgate to pornography. I kind of did. Alex Munoz says, it's the rational economics of AOC. Zach, ha ha ha. Chris Evans says, Crystal McGee just posted a tease from page 8 of her book, The Good Night. It looks amazing. Everybody should go check it out. Yeah, and back Crystal McGee's The Good Night. It's really fantastic. GR People says, we should open the CG store beyond the gate. Okay. Greg Bowen says, I'll bet Kwanzaa only sees his comic stuff as a gateway to the big payday, which is Hollywood. Good luck. I think that's probably true. Cyborg Patriot says, Heather is Bay, would smash, hail Caesar. The Comic Connoisseur says, Caesar Ethan, I just want to let you know I've been collecting comics for over 42 years. I have almost the complete run of Marvel from 1961 to 2010. Wow. So sad to see what Marvel has become. Yeah, you are the Comic Connoisseur. And I would trust your sense of how things are more than anyone else. So Zoivad, thanks for $20 Canadian, says, I'm excited for you, man. I hope CyberFrog hits 100K. In the meantime, I own a CNC machine shop, and I'm working on something for you on behalf of myself and all the good people who support you. A small token of thanks. wow, I can't wait to see Zoidbot. And thank you very, very much for that. And for all the gifts that I'm getting from people in my P.O. box. We love opening gifts from you guys. When we go to the P.O. box, it's always overwhelming. And really thank you so much for thinking of me. Alan Rogers says, seeing you pine over Indicron to Edwin was the worst EVS look I've ever seen. I don't know what you mean. Pine over Indicron to Edwin was the worst EVS look I've ever seen.
Actually, you said, "Hey, we'll talk about it again." I actually don't understand that.
Pine means to long for.
Yeah,
because I missed it, so I don't know if you used the wrong word.
well,
But my feelings about Indicron are that if it happens, it can't be used as a tool to keep people out or make people feel excluded. I also don't want people to make money directly off of creators using these websites. I do believe that advertising is important. So that, opening it up to ads, so that is where the money comes from. That just makes sense to me. But whatever I did that you didn't like, sorry. I feel like I said the right stuff to him. All right, so I want to thank everybody for being here. I got to find out what Andrea wants. She came down twice. She's like 20 minutes, 10 minutes. Read the super chats. So I got to go. Tug, thank you so much for joining me for this, man. I loved it that it was mostly just you and me.
I appreciate it. Let me vent for a minute. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Tug, by the way, follow both of his channels. Subscribe to The Umbrella Guy and subscribe to That Umbrella Guy. And find him on Twitter. I think on Twitter you're That Umbrella Guy or
That Umbrella. Actually, there's already a That Umbrella Guy. He probably gets a lot of hate mail, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
He's a food critic or something. I'm sure he's
like, what the hell is this? What's Comicsgate?
Yeah, why are these people telling me to die? And they're threatening my 5-year-old. Hopefully he doesn't have a 5-year-old too.
Oh my God, yeah, for real. But thank you. It's great. Everyone loves having you here. And the thing is, when we're one-on-one, we get to talk more. Usually when you're buried in 10 other people. So it's great. I appreciate you. Never Cold says in the chat, EVS, does the 10-pack come with more than one set of bonuses? No, it only comes with one set of bonuses right now. Just one set of bonuses. So just be aware of that. It's mostly for retailers, but yeah, maybe you want to hang on to all 10 of them. Thank you, everyone. And I'll see you again soon. Be well, be good to each other. And, hail Comicsgate. Bye-bye.